It's 10 days.
It's the 10th already.
10 days.
10 days
almost
into
over.
the month of January.
Into the year now.
So we are slowly coming to Christmas again.
Yeah. That was fast.
No, you're rushing it. You are just rushing it.
I'm just thinking, slowly coming to Christmas again. Yeah, so what are you planning for this day? I just hope that whatever you're going to do, you're going to do it right. Karibu sana to the program. I'm Victor Olo. So today we're still continuing with our discussion matters education in the country. The president, actually, a day or two ago, the money, 31 billion shillings capitation, was released by the national government. And so just want to take a look at really what's happening in the education sector. Most students are reporting to school better part of this week. Started maybe on Monday. Yeah, started Monday through this week. And it's going to be continuing until learning will resume on Monday as this is happening. But some of the parents are still saying, guys, that the fees is quite exorbitant. You know, school, the books, the uniforms, the necessities, all that. So that's what we want to take a look at today. I don't know what you think, Mike.
Well, of course, there will be complaints about the fees and the cost of books and all the resources that are involved when it comes to especially joining Form 1. And parents are still complaining, and this comes in the wake of the complaints still of the cost of living. So they are trying to compare what is necessary, what can be done away with, but still ensure that their children get the best from get the best as they join Form 1. And even those who are going back to school. CBC, it seems, has a lot of requirements for parents, and this is something that they are finding it a little bit hard to cope up with, especially in the current economic times. Yeah.
But we have nothing to do. I mean, Vivian, at the end of the day, we have to go to school. Our parents have to, I mean, it has to happen. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter if, you know, the economy is bad or not. School is a necessity, and it's actually in the constitution that every particular child of this nation has a right to education. And I feel like, okay, there's capacitation that has been, you know, extended to schools. I don't know if that money has been taken to, or rather spread out to these particular institutions and schools, but I just hope that something is going to be done so that we don't have any child left behind simply because their parents cannot afford school fees. You know, that's the most important thing. And yeah, if I can just go through what is happening on the standard, if I may start you off, if you allow me, Victor.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So dreams of champions, top students in last year's Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination reveal the secret to their success and also their aspirations as they prepare to join institutions of higher learning locally and abroad to pursue dream careers, their dream careers. And we just have on, that is the top page of the standard, we have several students who scored grade A, just talking about what they put in place, the strategy they had in place in order for them to ensure that they pass their examinations as they did with flying colors. And I bet this would be really important for the students who are in high school right now and the ones who are joining Form 1, so that they may, it's like a Mwakenya. It's like a Mwakenya on what to do, you know, and how to go about their studies in order for them to pass their examinations, but also have in mind that one shoe does not fit all. Everyone has to have their particular strategy on how they will go about their learning in order for them to ensure that they become top in their classes or just pass their exams, really. And still on the top page of the standard, Kenya's best list of top schools in last year's KCSE examinations, and they have given a list of the top schools in the country Elementary and Moi High School, Kabarak, is leading, followed by Mudasa Senior Secondary School, Kapsabet High School, Light Academy Mombasa, Kenya High, Pangani Girls, and so on and so forth, as well as the top students. So if you would want to go through that list, just get you a copy of the standard this morning. And apparently, engineering and medicine are the STAR's top choices. You know, the top students from last year's examination, most of them are going for engineering and medicine. I don't know what you feel about that, Mike. Do you feel like these are the careers that are really, really selling out here?
It could be, according to them, but you know, to each his own. There are aspirations every student has, and if it pertains to engineering, they are free to pursue it. But one thing that always catches my attention is that you never hear a student who is going to say, you know, I'm going to school to pursue journalism. Oh, Victor, have you ever had somebody say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why engineering? Why engineering? Why medicine? Why law? Hey, we need people to replace us here, to replace Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did you know there were scribes in the Bible? Waandishi wa habari?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, messengers were in the Bible. So you guys, think about it. Were they engineers and
have you heard of engineers in the Bible?
I've never heard of engineer Amos or something. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So there's that on the top careers that are being chosen by these top students, and surprises from little known schools. You know, there are schools that have really, really gotten to surprise all of us in terms of how they got to perform in the examinations last year. We have schools that we've not really heard of a lot, you know, schools like there's the Riara Springs Girls High, there's which is this other school? Yes, St. Anthony's Boys, Kitale, and just Nyandarua High also got to perform really well. And there's a list of schools here, little known schools to be specific, that have really outdone themselves in this particular examination. And there's also on page 6 of the standard, a similar story whereby the secret behind top grades, but this is from the perspective of not the students, but from the perspective of Moi High School, Kabarak, and the principal is pictured right there, and they get to just speak about what they did in order for them to have such good grades in this particular examination. And there's another story here away from the examinations that have really taken over the news yesterday and today. There's a political story right here whereby we have Kalonzo Musyoka, the Azimio la Umoja co-principal. Kalonzo Musyoka has already put out his bid and said that he is going to be in the ballot box come next election. I will be Ruto's biggest rival in the next presidential poll. That is according to Mr. Kalonzo Musyoka, and he says that this time round he's not going to be backing up anyone. He won't be supporting Raila or any other candidate. He's done that in 2013, he did that in 2017, he also did that last year but one.
Yes.
We're in 2024. Yeah. So he also did that in the year 2022, and this time round he says that he is going for the top seat, and he's should be starting his campaigns any minute from now. I don't know what Victor feels about this story.
Mapema ndio what?
Mapema ndio best.
All right, I think, you know, in politics you have to be available, you have to be around. In Kenyan politics, first of all, in political landscape, it's one of the fast moving targets.
Yes.
That if you disappear in the limelight for a month or two,
yes,
you'll remain behind in so many things. So what really happens in political landscape, and I think that's what Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is trying to do, is to put himself out there, sell himself out there, and start working with the people. I mean, you just have to behave, talk, walk, you know, associate with people. Everything has to be presidential. And by the time you'll be getting to 2027, you'd imagine the effect of having him in the limelight for all that long. When it comes to negotiation, remember, he'll also be looking for members of parliament, MCAs, senators, and governors, for people even to run on wiper ticket. So if you are the party leader and you've not declared your stance well enough, you are also putting your foot soldiers in a situation where they're not so sure whether our boss is going to be running or not. So where do they stand? I believe in politics, democratically, yes, he is okay to to declare his stance. But in politics, it's like going to war. You don't show your opponent your next move.
Yes.
Ambush.
I feel like it's too early for him to declare his bid. Actually, he's running with the slogan, Mapema ndio best.
Mapema ndio best, yes.
Yeah, that's the slogan.
You get
another aspect is in this story he's trying to test the waters and see the reaction from his side of the coalition. You know, he's a co-principal in the Azimio coalition, and right now Raila Odinga is the leader of Azimio coalition, and most likely he's also going to declare his candidature for the 2027 presidential election. So it's like testing the waters to see what happens. The reactions will actually tell him what.
But I think, again, in politics, nothing comes or happens accidentally.
Yes.
It's planned, it's well calculated.
Yeah.
Last election, there were a lot of complaints that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka made his stance a little bit too late. When the decision was being made, Azimio was looking for a running mate. Martha Karua was brought into the mix a little bit late into the game. Kalonzo Musyoka was also not so sure whether he was going to back Raila Odinga when there was that pronouncement that Honorable Sunkuli was going to be his running mate. Now, that happened within a span of 2 weeks or a month. And you see, within a month or two also in politics, a lot can take place. So some people would say that that kind of action in last election costed Azimio because supporters were, did they say supporters were? Okay. English and Kiswahili just mix themselves. Water and oil. I don't know which one took the weight.
It's all right.
His supporters were left somewhere hanging, whether to back Raila Odinga or whether to support Kalonzo Musyoka. So I think that everything they're doing right now as Azimio is well calculated, if you ask me. Again, Mapema ndio best. Things will change in future, believe you me.
Yeah.
Things will.
The political landscape, especially in Kenya,
it will
changes very
will.
fast.
Yeah, it does. Nothing is really permanent, and you can't really foretell what will happen. And if I may just finish off so that I may allow Mike to let us know what is happening on the Star for now. Raila Wanjigi meet to plot against Ruto's harsh policies. Now, opposition leader Raila Odinga is fine-tuning strategies for an all-out offensive against President William Ruto's government. In a move likely to tilt the political landscape, the former Prime Minister is courting allies as he plans to counter the Kenya Kwanza administration from all corners. Now, Raila yesterday got to meet business person and presidential aspirant Jimmy Wanjigi in Nairobi. A meeting credible sources said was aimed at planning the opposition's next move. Yeah.
I've told you, nothing happens by accident.
Exactly. Everything is calculated.
Exactly.
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
To be
Yes.
specific.
Yeah.
So on the first page of the Star newspaper, Ruto backs Raila over Kenyatta for AU top job. Ex-president and ODM leader are interested in the African Union CEO post. The current chair of the African Union is Musa Faki, whose term is coming to an end early next year. That story is fleshed out on page 2 of the Star newspaper. And just to give you a gist of what it's saying, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition chief Raila Odinga reportedly eyeing a top African Union job that is set to fall vacant next year. And Victor, to get this job, each of these candidates, Raila and Uhuru, one of them must have the backing of the president. So we are going to see how that is going to play out. And also, it also speaks to Kenya's place in the continental leadership. Victor, what do you feel about that?
This is my take. If President William Ruto supports Raila Odinga,
Yes.
then this is it. Raila will not run for presidency in 2027.
Exactly.
End of statement.
Yes.
Calculated
That's it,
plans,
exactly.
as we
Those are
say.
calculated plans.
Yeah.
Exactly. So why Raila and why not Uhuru Kenyatta?
Yes.
If Raila goes for that position, AU, then automatically he'll not be on the ballot
Yes.
in 2027.
Yes.
So what does that really mean to President William Ruto ahead of the election? Potentially, we leave him with other candidates.
Yes.
And you'd imagine what really happens if Raila Odinga is not on the ballot come 2027.
Yes.
But the biggest question is, are ODM or Azimio supporters ready to let Raila go of the ballot box
That is
in
a big
2027?
question. That is a
That's the
big
question.
question.
That is another question.
Yes.
Because he has his supporters right behind him.
Yes.
And some people would still say, continue. Remember, he has MPs, governors, and senators across the country. So what if he won't be on the ballot come 2027? What will happen?
Well,
Food for thought.
yeah, that is food for thought.
Food for thought.
Yeah, that story, you can read more on that story that is fleshed out in detail on page 2 of the Star newspaper. Another story that is making headlines on page 4 of the Star newspaper is how your pay slip will look like in 2024.
Tell us about that.
The story is going ahead. This is interesting. If you earn a basic salary of 50,000, you should prepare to part with at least 1,375 for the universal health coverage on top of other deduction introduced in July last year. This means, in other words, this means your pay slip is going to shrink. As we go along paying for this universal health coverage, and the package is going to go down, and this will impact a lot of people in many ways, because this is deducted according to your gross salary. So the more your salary, is high, the more that you will be deducted. And the tax cuts, as at now, people are complaining. But then again, the country has to be driven forward. Victor, your payslip is going to shrink in 2024. Another story that is making headlines on page 6 as I conclude. Litmus test for Ruto and Raila and parties as they gear for grassroots elections. Now, the biggest political parties face credibility tests as they prepare for the daunting task of holding grassroots elections later this year. This story is fleshed out on page 6 of the Star newspaper. Victor?
All right, very good. Okay, so on the front page of the Daily Nation, let me take you to the e-paper here. Very good. Okay, let's go to Daily Nation. On the front page of the Daily Nation, small schools, quote unquote, that fell giants. Small schools that fell giants. That is on the front page of the Daily Nation. In Embu, Embu Day School sends 49 of its 79 candidates to university in exam fit. That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. It says that topping the charts in national exams has often been a preserve of an elite club of quote-unquote big schools with a long history of excellent performance, but not anymore. A new crop of little-known institutions is out to shake up the old order and stake their claim to space at the top. That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Again, speeding to blame for crash that claimed 15, according to eyewitness. This is an accident that happened yesterday morning, I beg your pardon. Yeah. The scene of yesterday morning accident involving a matatu and a bus on the Nakuru-Eldoret highway, which claimed 15 lives.
It was a gruesome one.
Yeah, has been described as straight from a horror movie, quote unquote. So, according to preliminary investigations, the driver of the matatu was speeding and overtaking prior to the accident. It's alleged that the driver was competing with another matatu. That's according to an eyewitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel we should really look into and go back to the, there's a slogan we used to use, the Zusha. You know, as a passenger, when you're inside a PSV, whenever the driver is, you know, going against the rules, over speeding or just moving around like they don't know where they're going really, you should just have that confidence to speak up.
Yeah,
you
actually,
know, come together as passengers and just speak up. Let him or her slow down. Just pick up, Zusha.
Yeah, there are matatus. There are matatu circles which have phone numbers displayed inside the matatu, such that if a driver speeds, you can call their office and the driver will be called and told to slow down.
But even before calling, just Zusha, just tell.
Do you know there's something called public arrest?
Yes.
Public arrest. You have a power as a citizen.
Yes.
You have that power to do public arrest. You arrest the driver. He's overtaking. He's reckless on the road.
Yeah.
Arrest him and hand him over to the authorities. It's as simple as such. So long as you have evidence, you have that liberty to do that. So I mean, you just speak. It doesn't cost a thing.
Life is precious.
Your life is being put at risk.
Yes.
Don't be quiet. Don't be quiet.
All right. So still on the front page of the Daily Nation here, there's a story, Ruto renew feud with judiciary over project. President vows to that he will deal with quote-unquote corrupt judges. That's on the front page of the Daily Nation. And here, NHC on the spot over 3.2 billion shillings. Guess what? Unsold houses. Agency faulted for failing to provide an inventory. So that is what is here on the front page of the Daily Nation. But in as far as education is concerned, when technology failed exams agency yet again. Here we are, students, parents and schools were on Monday thrown into confusion when they received conflicting results of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education from the website of the examination body. So next year, Professor Julius Omondi is a man to answer that question, what really happened. And as far as that is concerned, again, something that we'll be talking about later on in the program is the issue of Edu Afia, remember? And now here, for 2 months, a student is stuck in India because they are not able to foot the medical bill because of the medical scheme, which right now is not active. So for 2 months now, Tofista, her daughter Rachel and her son have been in India to seek medical attention at the Sanar International Hospital. She was assured that the Edu Afia medical scheme would cater for her treatment cost. But she's now in distress. That is a story on in the Daily Nation. So we'll be taking a look at that later on, and perhaps my guest will also be in a position to help me answer that questions, what really happened. Have you ever heard of this kind of story? Twins
Which one is it?
starting school, STEM school, they go to same high school.
They get the same grade.
Same grade.
Yeah.
They go to same university.
Yes.
They work in same institution, and they, etc., etc. After getting a job, you know what happens? Maisha inaendelea hivyo. So here's a situation where poverty could not hold back determined twins. They have done well.
Yeah.
So does it mean that they have same DNA?
Twins.
Yes.
There's also another set of twins I saw who did exemplary well. They both scored A's with a difference of just one mark. Yeah.
Yeah. So does it mean they have the same DNA, same thinking capacity? Their line of thought is almost the same. Scientists.
I bet they do.
Mike.
Yes.
You have to answer that, or you don't have a twin brother. Oh, sorry. Confusion, distress, as grades on the neck portal change. This is what happened. Guys, yesterday M-Pesa ilifanya ile kitu.
Wow, where were you? Did you get...
Were you affected?
Did you have any inconveniences from...
Always carry cash. Always carry cash. That's one of the unwritten rules. Always carry cash.
Yesterday I came to realize Kenyans have gone cashless.
Completely.
Kenyans have gone cashless. Because I was somewhere and the person who was handling the money said, we are not, M-Pesa is not working. Everybody was up in arms. Like, how? Why? What is happening? That is when I knew Kenyans have gone cashless.
We have. I mean, we pay our mama mboga via M-Pesa.
Yes.
You pay matatus via M-Pesa.
Mutubebe pesa bana. Wacheni hiyo story.
Beba 200 kwa mfuko.
Exactly. Ka change kidogo hivi. How much is that? It's 200. Okay. Pochi or send money or pay bill. Yeah, so that's where we were yesterday. All right.
Yeah.
So what do you have on the People Daily? Again, on the front page, mystery, over 7,000 missing candidates. 7,000 missing candidates. Out of 9,000 candidates, that's according to CS Machogu, who are supposed to sit supplementary exams. The council has only been able to trace 2,000 of them. So
Wow.
7,000 are nowhere to be seen. So missing 7,000, mystery, over 7,000 missing candidates. Another question that we'll be answering, we'll be asking that question in the program. M-Pesa outage causes scare. Yes.
Sure did.
Mike, you don't have to call me again. I also suffered the same problem.
Niokole.
Yeah. So 9,000 students registered for examinations and disappeared only for 2,000 to turn up for tests after crackdown. So where are the rest? That's another question. So, and what's their fate now that the last cohort of KCSE and the system is changing? So what will happen to the 7,000 of them? Will they get jobs? Where will they go? Will they get special examination? What really happens after this? That's another question. Raila, Wanjigi meeting, raises eyebrows. Again, that was captured with you there. Azimio leader Raila Odinga with businessman Jimmy Wanjigi had a meeting yesterday. And you said their meeting is to chat away on the next political move. Again, let's wait and see what really happens. It's still early in the day to determine what happens. National schools to grab lion's share of university slots. This is it. Institutions produce the highest number of overall mean grade as at 889, followed by extra county counterparts with 172. Another discussion we had yesterday, but then now, power to these schools. Remember, one of our analysts said that institutions, most of the national schools have been spread across the country. So it's not the quote unquote, the big boys that we used to know in the past. So at least every county right now
has a national
school.
Exactly.
Yes.
So brains have been spread across the country. 6 KCP and KC exams in search for university slot. Well, wishes came through for them. And this story not so unique. We've heard of a story of a boy who reported to school somewhere in Migori County with just an empty box.
Yes.
And it's got a B+.
He only had a bar of soap inside that.
Yes, in that box.
So do we say that he whitewashed the rest?
No.
Just asking. No pun intended.
The pun was really intended.
He whitewashed the rest. Now that reported to school with a bar of soap in Form 1 and
but that story speaks to the resilience and commitment of some students when it comes to learning. They understand where they come from and they have one mission and one mission alone to succeed in their studies. And
what's
that
the motivation?
That is an inspiration, especially to the people or the students who are now in high school and other lower levels of education. Yes.
All right. Okay. How did you report to school? Form 1? Vivian.
How did I report to school?
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to report to
Ama,
at
you are
least
those,
some things inside
you are those
my
ladies
box.
walisaidiwa na watu watatu kubeba box. One mattress, the other side, 2 boxes. Maadhi amekushika mkono. Anakuambia tembea hapa.
I was one of those.
Some of us were told, you are getting late. Can we go?
Arakisha.
And I remember we reported in school during evening parade. Yes. In school, there's this morning parade and there's that evening parade. So for us, the old man took us there at around 5 p.m. So you don't know where to start. And 5 p.m. and you have your githeri and you have your cabbage waiting for you in the dining hall. So that's how we reported in school in Form 1. But hey, we are here. So mystery of scores of candidates who missed NEC tests. Mystery says that 9,000 of them. Another question that we are going to be asking our guest later in the program, where are these 9,000 students and what is their fate? So that is it. So as far as that's concerned, unless you have something, Mike and Vivian.
I think I have one more thing that I feel is important for us to point out, being that it's just the beginning of the year and you should be setting your finances right. So on the standard, we have a page where they're talking about the financial mistakes you should avoid this year. And they've given out 9 financial mistakes that they feel you should avoid this year if you want to have your finances right. And if I may just peruse through them very quickly, one financial mistake that you should avoid is not having insurance. The second one is not having an emergency fund, not planning for your taxes, as Mike has just mentioned to us. We're going to be deducted some more, you know, much more things are going to be deducted from your salary, so you better plan out for that. And then there's paying only the minimum on credit cards, not having financial goals. Another mistake that you should avoid this year is not checking your credit score. Another one is not investing. You should plan on investing. Another big mistake that I'm sure most of us do make is not budgeting. So you should not make that mistake this year, as well as ignoring debts. Those people who have debts left, right, center, you should try and ignore this bad debts. There's good debt, but then there's bad debt, and the bad one is the one that you should be avoiding. That's one of the financial mistakes that you should avoid in order for you to ensure that you are financially okay this year.
All right.
We're done with the papers.
All right, yes, we're done with the papers. Perhaps if maybe just continue here briefly and see what will happen. So Raila Wanjigi meeting raises eyebrows, I think, for politics, for the sake of our viewers who also want to get into politics. Duo declined to address journalists who had camped at the Norfolk Hotel where they met. Again, this is a situation as Mayor leader Raila Odinga yesterday met billionaire businessman Jimmy Wanjigi in a private 2-hour meeting at a Nairobi hotel, feeling murmurs that a new political deal between the duo could be in the offing. The duo did not address journalists who had come at the Norfolk Hotel, but contacted later. Wanjigi told People Daily that they had discussed matters of national importance. Raila, who was not accompanied by any of his allies, declined to speak to journalists about the content of their discussion. Let me ask you, so let the boys meet. They can't have coffee. It was a morning meeting. I mean, they could not just meet and have their coffee at a 5-star hotel.
As you said, everything is calculated, so it can't just be coffee.
But they're just meeting to have some breakfasts and
given about their business. There are 2 prominent persons in this country, so their meeting is not just in a normal meeting. People will ask questions, and they will want to know what transpired. But we wait and see what happens.
Yes, so that is it. Driver faulted in gruesome dawn crash in which 15 people died. And according to NTSA, I see, you know, one of our stories, it says that all those who perished were occupants of the 14-seater matatu.
Yeah, everyone in the 14-seater matatu?
Everyone. 14 lives in that matatu. And according to a story which was done by KBC, it says that the bus christened the classic Kings of Congo was trying to overtake. And then had an head-on collision with the matatu. And here is what really happened. This just tells you the extent of that crash. The entire windscreen of the bus, the front of that bus is completely shattered. This is what it looks like. You would imagine what really happened. The driver of the bus is still at large, but people who started their journey, 15 of them, 14, all perished.
They perished.
In a split second. In a split second, none of them survived. Guys, let's just be careful. I mean, you better be late than be the late. It doesn't cost you anything. If anything, it was a long distance bus, you know, going somewhere either in Kampala or Congo. So he was not rushing to pick other passengers along the way. The others would do. Let's just be careful, man. It's so sad. So 14 families and other beneficiaries and even other people are now crying because of someone else's mistake. Let's be careful. All right. That is it. Mike?
Yeah.
What do you have?
The back page of the Star is a story, is a sports story, and it's about world 800-meter champion, Mora, she is eyeing a gold in the upcoming Paris Olympics this year. And these Olympics, Victor, are going to be an interesting one because we might get a chance to witness a marathon between Eliud Kipchoge and Kiptum. That is going to be an interesting race because both of them, as at now, are the best marathoners that this country has. And in as far as Olympics is concerned, this is going to be interesting. On one hand, this is Eliud Kipchoge, who has conquered almost everything in marathon. And on the other hand is Kiptum, who is looking forward to getting the mantle from the champ himself, Eliud Kipchoge. So this is going to be an interesting one. And Mora is saying here that she is confident of a podium finish at the quadrennial Global Showpiece after a stellar run in the preceding season. So Kenya is known as a giant in terms of long distance running, and this is going to be interesting. And Mora is looking forward to bringing home that gold. Yes. All right. That is all I have in the Star newspaper.
All right. So, very quickly, again, let's see what happens on the front page of BBC. Gunmen storm Ecuador television studio live on air. Wow. This is it. And it shows how an image of the gunmen who raided a television studio while everything was live. That's captured here on, there we go. So in Ecuador, that's according to the BBC, gunmen storm television studio live on air.
How brave would one be to just, storm into, I mean, it's live, we're going live and you're storming in and you're shooting out people.
So they were masked gunmen.
Oh, masked, okay.
Yeah, broke into a television studio in Ecuador and threatened terrified staff. According, the employees were forced onto the floor during the broadcast by the public television channel TC in the city of, this guy cool. I hope I got it right. Before the live feed cut out. So the attackers were later seen leaving the studio, reportedly with several hostages. Police have made arrests. That is really what happened. And very quickly on the front page of France 24, Israel must stop undercutting Palestinians' ability to govern, according to Blinken. This is it. So U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Tuesday called on Israel to work with moderate Palestinians on plans for a post-war Gaza. This follows a meeting with Israel leaders on the latest stop of his regional tour, according to that. So that is as far as that is concerned on our local dailies and, of course, across our borders. All right. Mike, Vivian?
Yes.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we are going straight into a discussion. We want to take a look at the issue of education. We just want to take a look at what is really in our education table. Our topic of today is marking and grading the education. Marking and grading the education, the key to success. And now, a myriad of problems is now shrouded. The entire sector is shrouded with a lot of issues. So we just have to take a look at that. My guest, I have got Akilo Misori, who is the KUPPET Secretary General. I have got Honorable Wilson Sosion, who is a former nominated MP and former NAT Secretary General, as well as David Omuhatsa, who is the Chair, National Parents Association, a discussion that you don't want to miss. So let's take a break.
Yes.
We'll be right back straight into that. Stay with us.
Iko na nini? tukuli
ni nini?
Tukuli ya bachelor's boys whatever. Tukuli ndio hiyo mheshimiwa.
Wewe ni mtoto?
Mimi si mtoto.
Unasoma hiyo shule?
Sisomi kwa hiyo shule.
Sasa utadropiwa wapi?
Kwani nani chako ndio hiyo?
Wewe anakidnap mtoto, ana traumatize mtoto sababu ya pesa ngapi wewe?
Na wakati wewe na kunyima pesa ndani ya nyumba, unasikianga namna gani?
Nasikianga ni kama naweza call it and then na nitafute bwana mwingine.
I had noticed that your hormone levels were irregular, so I asked them to include the test.
No, you had no right to do that series of tests.
I didn't say anything when you threw her out. But now, I don't agree with you that she's not entitled to set foot in this house just because you say so.
I'm pregnant! I've just found out.
What's wrong, Marcel?
I'm going to speak with my mom. I cannot have you around here any longer. Look, Mom, I am terribly sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave right now.
随便扔就可以，随便扔，没事，不用堆那儿，随便扔一下就。他就是想起了加速器里面的粒子膨胀，所以这样的事情真的发生了。在亚龙的实验室里，绝不可能；在已知的物理学里，绝对不可能。我们觉得不可能，行，现在还相信医学。时间的尽头。
Mimi naitwa Kiliopa Zunyango, natoka Siaya, niko na bibi na watoto 3. Na mimi ni fundi wa Dixon. Natengeneza friji hizi za kampuni yetu, natengeneza microwave, natengeneza hizi TV zao, natengeneza hizi mablender zao zikifail kwa wenyewe. Hizo ndio nasimamia. Mimi sikuzaliwa nikiwa hivyo. Ni hali ya nyumbani. Kitambo kwetu hakukuwa na hospitali. Hata ilikuwa ni shida sana kupata hospitali karibu. Sasa unajua kupata wende udungwe ile polio, singeweza kufika hapo. Wazazi walikuwa chini. Sasa ndio ugonjwa wa polio ikakuja wakati umepata haujadungwa polio sindano. Unagonjeka na kuwa hivyo. Na hospitali ni mbali, lakini kama kungekuwa na hospitali karibu haingeenda hivyo. Wangepeleka hospitali wangangane nitembee. Lakini nimegonjeka nikiwa na kama 13 years. Vile nimegonjeka tu nikatoka shule. Juu sasa singeenda kuendelea na shule, na uwezi enda shule na hiyo hali. Juu ni kitu imechukua muda sana ikinisumbua. Mara mguu inauma, mara nini, mara kichwa pia inauma. Najua hiyo kitu ilikuja na problem mingi. Hali ilikuwa mzee, kwa vile yeye ni mzee sana, yeye akaniambia, wewe ile kazi sasa naona unaweza fanya juu huwezi endelea na shule, enda uchunge watoto ya wale wadosi huko, ndio niweze kupata ajikimu kwa maisha. Yeye pia ni mzee, unajua yeye ni mzee sana. After hapo nikapata tu pesa kidogo hapo kwa hiyo kazi. Dada yangu akanileta huko Kariobangi kwa ndugu yangu mkubwa. Sasa kaishi na yeye nikijifunza hapo kwa soko. Unaona hiyo soko ya Kariobangi hiyo, hapo ndio nimejifunzia kazi. Kuenda wakasema huwezi chukua mtu hajasoma mahali pengine. Nikapata mwingine naitwa Tony. Ndio sasa nikakaa na yeye akanitrain practical. Akaniambia hata kama hujasoma lakini nitakutrain practical. Kidogo mpaka nikaelewa kazi. Akanipenda because nilikuwa naenda mapema pia kwa kazi. Usikai mbali na hapo kwa duka wa soko. Nilikuwa natoka hapo hizo nyumba za City Council naingia mapema hata bila watu wote kuingia. Akaniheshimu, akanipatia mamlaka. Sasa mimi ndio nisimamie wale wanafunzi wanachelewa, naandika jina yao. Naandika tu. Kazi nimefanyia watu wengi sana. Nimewatengenezea TV zao wote ni TV. Naenda na wananiita kwa nyumba, naenda na watengenezea vitu zao. Vingine naenda nakomboa gari, nachukua na beba, natengeneza na warudishia. Shida ni wengine wako na madharau kiasi. Ukienda kwa manyumba zao hawataki hata ukae kwa kiti. Anakuambia hiyo kitu hautatengenezea hapa kwangu, wacha nikutolee nje na akuletee viti zingine, ama kuletee box, ukalie box ukitengeneza, juu anaona ni kama utamchafulia nyumba. Challenges ni spare. Kupata spare ni shida, because spare zile sasa ziko local sahi si mzuri. Unaweza nunua spare hata ikatae, inaleta shida sana. Hiyo ndio challenges kubwa niko nayo hapa sasa. Hii kazi yangu naipenda sana, na ndio unaona natembea na tools zangu, juu mtu anaweza nipigia hata nikiwa kwa njia, hata kwa gari nashuka, ananimuuliza tu ni wapi nataka nikuje, naenda, asiulizi mtu, nauliza tu direct, naenda peke yangu nafanya. Kama hakuna njia ya kutoa, naambia mwenyewe nisaidie na mwetu ama soja anitolee, kama ni TV iko pale juu, soja anitolee aniwekee kwa meza, nitengeneza alafu anirudishie juu, siwezi fika juu. Lakini kuna zingine napanda paka stool nitoe peke yangu, kama si kubwa sana. Kuomba hiyo si kazi, because hiyo hapana. Hata uwezi kuwa na marafiki, hakuna mtu anaweza kuwa na marafiki ya kuomba ati na kuombanga sasa sisi ni marafiki, haiwezekani. Hii nimefanya nipate marafiki wengi wa maana sana, juu wengine wanafurahia ile kazi vile niko na namfanyia kazi, hata hawezi peleka kitu yake mahali pengine. Kuna wakati niliambiwa niende GPO nipewe contract na serikali, nikasema nazaenda huko nisimamie kufanya hizi stima. Unaona hizi stima hizi za light ya usiku ya county, ikawa sasa ni process mingi sana. Unajua kusimamia hiyo kazi si ni kujua tu ni nini nahitaji, na niko na watu yangu wenye wanazafanya hiyo kazi. Hiyo tu ile nataka kuambia serikali watukumbuke.
My name is Christopher Munene. We have worked with the Clothers for so many years. I think it is almost 15 years. And he's a very good technician. We have got no any problem with him. We like him, and that's why we work with him only at the moment. He's the one who checks all our electronics machines. Number one, I would like to thank the chairman of the company, is Mr. Parker, and also the director of the company, Mrs. Parker, because when they looked at him or they took him, they said he's one of the people we are supposed to help, and actually he has shown his capability of working with us, even if he has got that disability. So he's a good guy. We have so many disabilities people in Kenya, whereby others they are in the streets, they are borrowing money, they have nowhere to work, but they have that capability of working. So, and I would just like to encourage other companies, like the way Dixon's Electronics they have done, to pick those people outside there and give them jobs, because they normally say that they want to work and they want to show other people that in the world they can work. So just to encourage them not to look at what they are, just to see what they can give out as people. Disability doesn't mean that you are weak, you are strong. So just focus yourself and believe whom you are, and definitely you'll succeed in life.
And welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. So, all right, so getting straight to our discussion today, I want us to take a look at the issue of education, marking and grading our education system. That is going to be our topic for today, marking, quote unquote, marking and grading our education. Key to success, but is it? Yesterday, we had a report of 48,000 students getting an E, scoring an E in the last examination, which was released by the CS, Ezekiel Machogu. So what does it really portend to the students? And as far as this is concerned, there's a myriad of issues affecting the education system. And we all know that education is the only equalizer under the sun. And we just want to take a look at really what should be the government and the stakeholders, who is you and I, including the parents, should do to ensure that the system is well streamlined for the betterment of this nation. I have got Akelo Misori, who is the KUPPET Secretary General. Akelo, good morning. Molim.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I have got David Omuhatsa, who is the Chair, National Parents Association. Omwami.
Yes.
Ubushere.
No.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Mrembe.
Asante sana. And Mwalimu Wilson Sosyan, who is former NAT Secretary General and former nominated MP. He calls himself the CAS.
I don't call myself.
Really?
I don't call myself. I am. I took office. The rest.
Yes.
Politics.
Politics. Tulimaliza mwaka vizuri and we are all back here.
Yeah.
We thank God. All right, so gentlemen, before we start, let me take you through the traffic situation. A lot is taking place in the city. How about we start with that, as we should. Let me give you a quick round on what our major cities look like this particular morning. The CBD already is not looking okay. Let me start with Thika Road. Thika Road is okay. It's not good, by the way. It's just a normal problem that we should be getting used to. All the way from Survey coming down to Muthaiga Square there is already a mess. Crossing over to Kiambu Road, you can see that this is all packed up. That's what it's on Thika Road, around Limuru Road, that's around City Park. Also a mess because of the construction happening there, heading towards Gigiri, but you have to be very much patient. If you can get an alternative route, well and good. What about the western side of the city, all the way from Makangemi, coming down to ABC Place, onto around Westlands Shopping Center, thereabout, so far flowing pretty fine into the CBD. Langata Road, good morning. Welcome to the program again. It's not that bad. Langata Road flowing pretty fine, heading to Raila Odinga Way, otherwise known as Mbagathi Way. It was changed to Raila Odinga Way. Okay, it's looking okay. That again translates to what's here along Ngong Road. Ngong Road, so far so good, apart from a bit of some situations here. Valley Road coming into CBD looking pretty fine. Watu Mombasa Road, you are okay, please get out and come to work. Okay, what about traffic situation in Mombasa? Mombasa, good morning. Today it's not so good for you because the New Nyali Bridge is a mess. You can take a look at what it's like this particular morning. But after that, going towards Kongowe Market again is busy. I bet most Kenyans are out. And yeah, Malindi Road heading all the way to around Nyali and Pirates Beach. That side is okay because that's now outbound. And what about Congo? This is now Mombasa Ferry Channel. This is where we are. Ferry Channel, both sides looking pretty busy. Because of, it's the only crossing channel that side, so we have to be very much patient with that. How about Makupa Causeway coming to the CBD? Not so bad, looking okay. Okay, let's head over to Kisumu City. Kisumu, good morning, looking okay at the way it looks like from Wigot Garden coming to Lake Basin Mall down to Kondele Roundabout. So far so good. Coming into the CBD, not so bad. Past Kibuye Market, joining the Central Business District of Kisumu, looking so far so good. How about heading towards the International Airport? Looking okay. So there's nothing much to report about in as far as Kisumu traffic is concerned. Okay, so that is where we are. Gentlemen, I have to start with all of you on the front page of the People Daily here. Beg your pardon, we have just to come back here on the front page. There we go. And the story reads, this in relation to what we're going to be discussing. Mystery over 7,000 missing candidates. That's on the front page of the People Daily. You can take a look at that. Mystery over 7,000 missing candidates. The result says that 9,000 students registered for examinations and disappeared, only for 2,000 of them to turn up for tests after crackdown. So where are the rest? The big question, where are the rest? Mystery over 7,000 missing candidates. Akelo Misori, let me start with you. First of all, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you make of this headline?
Not much, because you remember the registration of candidates for exams takes place in Form 3.
Yes.
And many candidates develop fatigue and maybe may not report to do exams. Because of lack of enforcement of who should be accounting for this. the persons who should be giving us this detail is maybe what are the quality assurance department doing with the schools to give us a feedback of what has taken place with the 7,000 who did not do the exams. And remember, the exams are nowadays done, the government has already given candidates free exams. They don't pay for exams. It is on registration. So anybody who feels that has been coming to school can just report and be registered for exams.
Yes.
Especially in a school. But now you cannot, as a school, compel them to come and do exams. So perhaps that could explain why 7,000 are missing. Yes.
All right. David?
I think that's a question that should have come out before even the exams were done. Because after the candidates have been registered, before they sit for exams, there is always a survey done to understand how many are sitting and how many are not sitting. So before the exams were done, that issue should have come up. And should have been followed up, maybe through schools, to understand where these 7,000 that are missing. The government has all the machineries to do that. Through the principals, through the parents association, we are there. We should have done that before the exams. So now that it's coming out after the exams have been done, that question bounces back to NEC. NEC should explain why are these 7,000 missing students. Then NEC should explain, not us explaining, because the parents give the children to the school. The Ministry of Education monitors, the TS has the teachers there, they report and give back the feedback of what's happening in schools, the government. So when the exams are done and 7,000 students are missing, and then now the question comes back in the media, as if they're asking parents to explain, then it becomes very difficult. So NEC should explain. They were registered. Oh, where are they? What happened? Why not that
so what happens to the 7,000?
We want to know where they went. NEC should explain why they didn't do the exams, so that we understand now. Then we can now make a follow-up as parents from outside to know where are these 7,000. But first of all, NEC has to explain.
All right.
Yes.
So Sean, this must be a very big number. 7,000.
Yeah, it is, but I want us all first to get facts. This 7,000 is not KCSE. The 7,000 is KCPE.
Yes.
Those 9,000 that were mapped out by the ministry to have failed to turn up to sit for exams. So they've only been able to identify 2,000 who are available and ready to do exams, and they've been processed to proceed to Form 1, and they can do other evaluation tests later. Those who did not sit for exams in the KCSE are about 3,000. That's a significant number. And there are a lot of interacting factors here. It may point out to dropout. School dropout is a common phenomenon, and it's caused by many factors. The parents are here, why students drop out of school, even those who have registered, and they end up doing other things. When you try rounding them up, you cannot get them. In the North Rift, they will engage in cattle rustling. In some coastal regions, they will engage in child prostitution. It's real. In some sisal plantation, they engage in labor. In areas where they are border, they drop and engage in border. So dropout, school dropout is real, and attrition is real. It's a social challenge that calls for collective intervention. It's not the business of NEC. NEC does registration, administers exams. But school attendance is the responsibility of parents and communities and enforcement of the existing legislation. But listening to the data from the ministry is that there are a lot of interacting. The number may not be 7,000 as such. Some school would like to retain their independence as an examination center. So sometimes there are fake names, fake numbers in the registration. Others actually are real dropouts, and there are many interacting factors, and they've given us that huge figure. But one student is one too many.
Yes.
I think we should focus on those 2,000 who have turned up. What are we going to do with the 2,000? To ensure that they're admitted to the nearest schools where they are, and also diagnose the factors that cause the 2,000 students not to sit for exams and deal with those intervening factors. I think right now, when you're talking about 100% school attendance, and 100% transition from primary to secondary, and 100% transition from Form 4 to tertiary institutions. We should ensure that all students who are eligible to transit actually really transit, and we should be able to diagnose the factors. What is causing these students or pupils to abscond school? And that is a complex factor. You can't blame it on anybody. You may not fully blame it on parents. You may not blame it on school administration. But I think we need to map out and ensure that we enforce school attendance by any means.
All right.
So that all candidates, all students can actually attend schools. I think the biggest decision here, the biggest decision that has ever been, a bold one, was to allow the 2,000 who have turned up to proceed to Form 1 without necessarily sitting for a KCPE exam. It's a departure, because that is the principle of ensuring access.
Very good.
Then you can deal with other factors later. Because once there is evidence that there was significant attendance of classes up to the end of class 8, and that can be verified, then that student can be admitted. And this brings to the table the question of significance of some of these exams. Did we really need to have KCPE over the years as a tool of transiting to secondary school?
Let's answer that question.
Let's answer that question. There have been very many proponents that it was a barrier.
Very good.
It should have been removed.
Let's take a
break. Like the KCSE. You can see the KCSE has been downplayed. It doesn't have to be used as a tool of transition.
You have your cup of coffee, Mwalimu. I need to have mine here.
You brought me to talk.
I'll say something.
You brought me to the studio.
Yes,
just 1 minute.
Can you take a break? Then we come back and I'll get back to you kindly. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be right back. That was just our voice test and warming our voices. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
Habari njema kutoka redio yako pendwa ya Ingo FM kwa wakazi na mashabiki wa Bungoma. Sasa Ingo FM inasikika Ingo Bungoma kupitia masafa ya 103.5 FM. Sikiliza na uchangie, burudika ukifurahia uhondo wa kipekee kwa lugha ya nyumbani.
Awamu ya Baraga UCC, Natural Sweetness.
Kadhalika, tegea Ingo FM ukiwa maeneo ya Kakamega, Busia, Vihiga na Trans Nzoia kupitia 101.5 FM.
Isenikoli umwana wa kwendo mkhana wa imoni dalano mbonyala kunanga KK.
Ingo FM, ininginingi ye Muitala.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
Iko nayo.
Iko na nini?
Tukuli.
Tukuli ni nini?
Tukuli ya bachelor's boys whatever. Tukuli ndio hiyo mheshimiwa.
Wewe ni mtoto.
Mimi si mtoto.
Unasoma hiyo shule?
Sisomi kwa hiyo shule.
Sasa utadropiwa wapi?
Kwani nani chako ndio hiyo?
Wewe anakidnap mtoto, ana traumatize mtoto sababu ya pesa ngapi wewe?
Na wakati wewe na kunyima pesa ndani ya nyumba, unasikianga namna gani?
Nasikianga ni kama naweza kole tande na nitafute bwana mwingine.
Get ready for the captivating return of the FKF Premier League, exclusively on KBC. Brace yourself for the thrill of football as 18 teams battle it out for glory. Every week, KBC brings you not one, but two heart-pounding matches, delivering the best football action right to your living room. The stakes are higher than ever. The league champion takes home a handsome prize of 5 million shillings and also earns the honor of representing Kenya in the prestigious CAF Champions League. Feel the adrenaline, experience the suspense, and join the roar of the crowd as we celebrate the return of Kenya's football legacy. The FKF Premier League, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 and KBC radio stations. Save the date, mark your calendars, and get ready for the ultimate football spectacle. Coming to you live only on KBC. KBC, your true sports partner.
All right, welcome back. I also have my cup of coffee here, so I think we are good to go. Welcome to the program. I'm Victor Olo. So, David, you wanted to say something before you took a break. Please, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted just to support what Mheshimiwa said, that the disappearance of the 7,000 children could be due to so many reasons, as he explained. And therefore, I would say that if KCP was to continue, we would want to have some kind of research done before and immediately after exams to understand whether all the children start for the exams or not, and what could be the reasons that are causing all this. And therefore, it's an experience that we need to learn from, that anything can happen, and we have to be ready for those eventualities. Thank you very much.
All right, very good.
But Victor,
yes,
I think we are not giving the comprehensive analysis of those who missed exams. At the registration of this cohort of students who finished Form 4, nearly 1.2 million were enrolled in Form 1. And only about 889 finished. We are not talking about the challenges that we have with high dropout in our schools. And nobody's giving us a proper accountability that what could have happened. Was there an epidemic in schools such that we missed to have about 180,000 not completing school? So we come now to narrow down ourselves to merely 7,000 who did not do exams, or 3,000. So in my view, I think there is need now to rethink and talk about education with a lot of clarity, that who takes responsibility in ensuring that we have got proper accountability of those who enroll in schools. And do they complete? And if they complete, where do they go? Like now when you are asking victims of those people who are just wondering where people went, I think somebody must have a clear record of what is taking place. The ministry must take responsibility to account for the children. The Ministry of Social Protection should also give account that this is how our society is, and this is where people disappear to. Yeah, so the small number is just a tip of an iceberg. That we have got a bigger challenge, that there's high school dropout and completion rates, despite the fact that the government made a bold step to have 100% transition at all stages. We still have that challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Sion, let me ask you this question. What is your general assessment of our education system up to this point, 2024?
Not just education system, but the Kenyan education system.
Yes.
But before that, you know, these dropout rates, we didn't talk about comparison of the numbers that did KCP and then in 2019 and those who did KCSE 2023. We talked of 100% transition of 1.2 million candidates in 2019. And then now we have a candidate of 840 something thousand sitting KCSE, a gap of 400,000. Then the question begs, did we really achieve 100% transition in totality in the first place in 2019? And if we did some transition of certain significant numbers, what is the cause of the dropout rate? I think after implementation of EFA goals and the SDG that is in force right now, which is retiring 2030, that ensures equitable quality education for all, of which Kenya is a signatory.
Yes.
And we've made a very good legislation that criminalizes exclusion of any child from school. Let us not discuss dropouts only during exams. It should be a continuous program that intergovernmental agencies must put in intervention measures to map out and check and bother about the location of every child. And that is why the Presidential Working Party has worked on a data system called KEMIS, Kenya Education Management Information System, that once a child is registered, you are able to track that child everywhere, and we should be able to account for every child. So if we strengthen our accounting system and the governance program, we'll be able to trace every child. It's only lazy operations that leads us to these kind of things. Now, you've asked about our Kenyan education system. You know, I raised a lot of reservations about the manner in which the so-called quote-unquote education reforms were being undertaken. That fell short of public participation. They were unconstitutional largely. But I think this has been remedied by the recommendation of Presidential Working Party. So education system will largely rely on the implementation of this particular program to remedy many maladies that have been docked in the system. Number one, did we have to change the structure from 844? And what are the consequences of the change of this structure and indeed the implications? Now, the recommendation to have 3 levels, that is comprehensive school, that consolidates PP1 up to grade 9, closer to the households and domiciled in the current primary school, which will largely be day and should attract no fees at all, will ensure continuous access unhindered of education up to grade 9. And I think that is welcome news to parents, because one is the complete removal of barriers of cost and all the rest. This fantasization of boardings, this and that, that has brought the cost of education is uncalled for. And the president is very keen, and Kenya Kwanza government is very keen to ensure that the comprehensive model works. It's the best thing to do, so that we run an education system that is grade specific, age specific, and a curriculum that carries the content for that particular grade, so that then teacher deploy the qualified teachers to teach the curriculum at those particular levels within those setups. The senior secondary will remain exclusively for the pathways. And the pathways shall be well defined, and the senior secondary school shall have to be upgraded in terms of infrastructure, properly defined pathways, and deployment of adequate teachers, so that the senior secondary model purely and exclusively concentrate and focuses on preparation of learners for the pathways that they shall so
The question
choose.
is the government ready? Is the government ready for that?
Allow me, you've asked me a question. The government is ready.
But we
the
should
government
be
is
able
ready.
to interject.
The government
and
is
to
ready.
ask
Akelo Missouri, shut up.
Before,
just allow me to finish.
Before you proceed,
you've not been allowed.
You should not mislead.
Victor.
You should not mislead the public by bringing in
Victor.
a policy.
Victor, I'm talking about a government policy that is in force and post-basic, and that has been made completely affordable through the funding model. It's two-pronged. One, TVET. A lot of investment in TVET and other mid-level colleges and the university level. So that then, majority of the children through the stratified funding model system, particularly from poor households who have been conducting fundraisings, that will be a thing of the past. And you can see there is enhanced funding. Of course, with that structure, there is defined funding right across to ensure that parents don't actually absolutely pay. The arguments that Akelo's group have been having is to try and push grade 7, 8, and 9 to senior secondary for purposes of union domains. But they have not told us whether they are ready to find resources for parents to pay fees in grade 7, in grade 8, and in grade 9. That is not admissible.
That is the biggest question. Have you found resources?
So in short, Victor, the model that is in place that has been adopted and approved is government position.
Thank you.
It's not going to change.
Yes.
And we want to urge all Kenyans, let's support this model as is designed and make it work, because it is meant to ensure universal access.
I hear you.
And all what we need to work on now is quality variables so that we deliver quality.
Let's Molima Akelo go.
Victor, let us establish the rule of this game so that we don't have dominance over discussion over a very important matter. Education. Education is not something you can just have knee-jerk policy decisions because there's a presidential working party. In fact, the Presidential Working Party did not do good service to the already existing challenges which we had in education. And especially now, talking about comprehensive school. Comprehensive school, that you have comprehensive school from grade PP1 up to grade 9.
Yes.
It has not mapped out the correct facility infrastructure which can enable such kind of education to be undertaken. My brother is talking about the pathways which is designed for the senior school. And it is cheapening the discussion that anybody who is challenging the position taken by the current policy framework is looking for union membership. I think that is cheapening the debate about a critical issue, in education. For example, we want to lay a foundation for
bring union domains.
You want to bring
and cheap arguments to disrupt the whole
protect the discussants. You cannot suggest that you have grade 7, grade 8, and grade 9 in our present situation when you are not discussing the resourcing of this institution, which require the cost.
Yes.
And you are saying you are saving the parents from the cost. Who is paying for the teachers who are not posted to these schools? Who is paying for the infrastructure to deliver the same curriculum, to deliver a foundation for the pathways in senior schools?
In other words, you're saying the government is not ready.
So the government has messed up this process, and there is no kind word I can use. This process has been messed up. And it is because some people who have influenced the government think that anybody who is criticizing this model is against government position. That is cheapening the debate. I would want to ask my brother, the government promised that in 2023 they were going to build about 23,000 laboratories. Building 23,000 laboratories is a nightmare. And now we are in grade 8. The schools which are there, The CEO of the commission is saying we need 42,000 teachers. How can you use at transition casual laborers to effect a major government policy framework, and especially something education? So we must be very, very keen and not to cheapen this debate to membership of.
What is the recommendation? What is the recommendation?
The recommendation is
Coopet
that the Teacher Service Commission had to be asked to rationalize staffing of teachers.
Yes.
So that, for example, creative arts, integrated science could be attended to. Not that you have got a school in a junior school which is part of the comprehensive school with 2 arts teachers. And they are currently there are 9 learning areas.
Okay.
That one is bringing us to messing an entire generation. We must stop this government from messing up education.
Okay.
Not just talking about union membership and union dues.
David, from the parents' chair.
Thank you.
That's what you are doing. That's what you are.
I have heard the two Eshimiwa speak.
Yes.
To me, I think your question was that what is the status of the education in the country? That was your question. I would say that to speak on this, we need to have some kind of research evidence that can be tabled. One thing is that I would say we're having issues in the education sector because of the policies that are in place. Are these policies that are in place being followed as they're supposed to be? These have been put in place by the government. For that, if you talk about 100% transition, when you're saying that we are 100% transition, there's a question of cost sharing as a policy from the government. Are the parents able to meet the costs of the education as per now, as we speak? For example, the government has given fee structures for the parents to go and share the cost. They pay part of the money. The same parents who are being told to pay the part of the money, they are hustlers at the moment. They have no money to pay the costs. And this is why you see some students are even disappearing from school because their parents cannot do what? Cannot afford because of that policy of cost sharing.
Yes.
We should be talking about having zero payment from parents in the education sector in Kenya as per now, because we have been told about free education all the years that the government, anyone who's coming to power as a president, speaks of offering free education all the way from ECD to university. But when we get to office, things change. So the policies. The other thing is this: how are they involving the stakeholders, like in CBC? Even up to now, we parents, we have never been involved in CBC. And if we are saying that tomorrow CBC will be succeeding, how will it succeed without the parents?
You have not been involved with the CBC?
We have not been involved.
Okay.
Parents, up to now, parents have not been involved. And this is why you see there's a problem. Parents need to have parental empowerment and engagement. Right now, Parents Association is anchored in the Education Act 2013. We are supposed to be funded by the government to do parental empowerment and engagement, which was a theme in the presidential task force that was on. But we don't get funding from the government, and we are a government office that caters for the parents. So there should be a clear way forward on this, that the parents should be involved. Come to schools. Parents still complain that they don't understand what CBC is. It's going on, but they understand.
Yes.
Nobody has done education, the parents know what CBC is. The other issue is, how committed is the government? What is the role? Is the government doing proper monitoring, evaluations, and recommending as far as the education systems are going on right now? Like what now the complaints that he's raising and what has been heard about? What's the government doing on those ones? Are they making any proper recommendations that can favor parents and their children? Economic crisis at the moment. The capitation that's being given to parents from the government, that capitation should be 3 times or 4 times. Mheshimiwa is here. I think you get this Mheshimiwa and go and advise them, so that parents can have easy minds and easy time to take their children to school. But when they are given 22,000, you are giving a single mother who lives in Kibera slums 22,000 as a government, and then you are asking the same parent in Kibera slums to pay 20,700. And this is a parent who cannot afford even a piece of bread, not even a packet of funga of 200 shillings. Where will this parent get that 20,700? We want the government to be very fully committed on providing free and fair education to the children. Teachers, look at the issue of teachers. We don't have enough teachers in schools right now. We are still having teachers employed on internship to cover that gap.
The government said that a couple of teachers have been employed. 52,000?
Yeah, I'll come to that. Let me explain.
Right.
We still have that. They've been employed. But are you not seeing that JS teachers already, where are they? They are saying that they are not reporting to work at the moment. And they have been employed. The question of teacher employment should be well addressed. And there is some conception that's going on around. Let me be frank with this. People from the outside, there's an assumption that members of parliament have been given forms to go and employ teachers. And some teachers are feeling that those that are being employed right now on permanent and pension basis, that's being done because members of parliament are the ones who are influencing that. I want to make this clear that members of parliament are not the ones that are employing teachers, although that rumor is there outside.
Yeah. So
this is what we are saying, that the government should do some kind of monitoring and evaluating these issues on teacher employment. As I said about transition from ECD to primary and to secondary school, then to the university. Is there proper monitoring of this process by the government to know? At ECD, we had this number of children. To primary, this was a transition. What's the reason that there were 100 at ECD and there are 5 at secondary primary? Why do we have the county governments? ECD education, whatever education has been devolved to the county governments. Is the government following now, the national government following the county governments to make, to assure parents that every primary school in this country has an ECD center that has teachers that are trained and qualified? Are they doing that? So when you talk about the state of the education in the country, everything is mixed up.
Chair, from your explanation, it seems that your house is leaking. You have got a myriad of problems.
Yes, there are problems that are not being addressed by the government. That's what I'm saying. Parents are there. I've given an example. ECD has been devolved to the county governments. The governors are not taking that responsibility seriously, as we are saying. Parents are crying. We are complaining that there are no ECD centers. There are not trained teachers in the ECD centers.
Have you sought audience with the Ministry of Education?
The Ministry of Education?
Yes.
When I'm here, I'm now seeking audience. This is the government.
No. Yes. Out of this place?
Yes.
Have you?
We have done that.
Okay.
Recently, we did a survey in Turkana for 3 months, between August and December. We identified 4,000 ECD children who ought to be in school. We asked the children to be taken to school in January, this January, when the schools opened on 8th. These children are taken to schools, but there are no classrooms, there are no desks, there's nothing.
Okay, let's take a break.
Whose role is that?
So, Sion, most of this is fired on you.
Proper policies.
All right.
Lack of proper what? Policies and implementation of the same policies. The policies are there, but implementation is lacking. To be done in the proper way.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
随便扔就可以，随便扔，不用对那，随便扔一下。太太就让人想起了加速器里面的粒子膨胀，所以这样的事情真的发生了吗？在亚龙的实验室里，绝不可能；在已知的物理学里，绝对不可能。我们觉得不可能。行，现在还相信物理学。时间的尽头。
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
I had noticed that your hormone levels were irregular, so I asked them to include the test.
No, you had no right to do that series of tests.
I didn't say anything when you threw her out. But now, I don't agree with you that she's not entitled to set foot in this house just because you say so.
I'm pregnant! I've just found out. What's wrong, Marcel?
I'm going to speak with my mom. I cannot have you around here any longer. Look, Mom, I am terribly sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave right now.
Which one? It's okay, let's proceed.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Before we took a break, Mwalimu Sosion, when you heard what Mr. David said, he laid out a myriad of issues, and not most of them is lack of preparedness, inadequacy from the side of government. What would you respond from this one?
Yes, I've heard those lamentations, and I don't think we've come to the studio to lament. We've come to pragmatically discuss the future of education in Kenya. Particularly in the wake of release of exams. We have seen the exams and we've seen the performance. Of course, KCSE aside, that we were discussing, but responding to their views. Number one, there is a government now in place, Kenya Kwanza administration, that puts out its agenda to the people of Kenya and what to do within education. And the Kenya Kwanza negotiated a charter with the stakeholders in education, led by the president and signed. And it's a very detailed document that is now under implementation. And that education shall be a public good that will invite public participation. It is, and the Presidential Working Party collected views all over the country, everywhere, from parents, that's a fact, because we wanted to ensure that whatever is being implemented meets the threshold of Article 10 of the Constitution. And there are a lot of drafts of recommendation and an implementation matrix. We've seen even with the KCSE, the change in grading system so that students are graded on the best subjects, and that gives students more freedom and more focus on the school careers. The rot that we have had in the education sector is so much that a lot is being done to undo, to rationalize and put education in a positive trajectory. So on board, sir, if you have any issue and any good view or data and paper that you'd want to submit to government, there is an office called Jogo, and you can walk in and submit. It's an open office. And so nobody has been closed out.
Mheshimiwa,
No.
Order, Mheshimiwa.
No.
Order, Mheshimiwa.
I'm responding.
Order, Mheshimiwa. Allow me to respond on this.
No.
Allow me. Why is it
Allow
refusing?
me to finish responding. I've only said, if you have any data, simply submit. It's an advisory. And any other Kenyan, if you have any useful information to submit to government, please do. Now, on the question of, the government is not building these in comprehensive schools, there are no laboratories, the quality in poor infrastructure and all that. The model of comprehensive school in the master plan, for those who have cared to read the presidential working report, the infrastructure of the comprehensive school model, that's why even the name primary has been dropped, secondary has been dropped, because there are a lot of dogmatic traditional thinking that is obstructing meaningful modern ways of running schools by those type of things. They've been now comprehensive school model in terms of infrastructure shall be of the highest standard. Why do you think we should have some schools with poor infrastructure, and then you want to transit children to areas where you think infrastructure is good? We must have upgrade quality infrastructure of our school system. And the president is very keen with that, and they started with members of parliament, that then the CDF funding, which is working, and we have seen the great work that is going on in Kiharu constituency in terms of upgrading quality of the comprehensive schools. We must upgrade our comprehensive school to the best standards in terms of infrastructure, so that then ECD learners can walk in, the current primary and the JS can walk in and study comfortably, because we cannot have schools with poor infrastructure. And we cannot stigmatize comprehensive schools to be condemned to entities of poor infrastructure. So infrastructure upgrading shall be real. There will be laboratories, that's a fact for sure. In the course of time, it is work in progress. There will even be ICT centers, because ICT is the real thing in the fourth industrial revolution and the future that we are headed to. There will be quality schools close to the households. And in fact, some of the comprehensive schools in the long run can even host senior secondary. So that then this business of high school fees and all that, you can only break barriers, of course, by bringing schools close to the households, at least for most of the basic level. And this is a revolutionary agenda, and it has been negotiated with the people of Kenya. And once we are through with negotiations and public consultation,
but the issue of infrastructure,
we cannot have other groups trying to tell us that there was no consultation, and these consultations are continuous, and this will be implemented. So we cannot say the comprehensive schools will lack A, B, C, D. All those infrastructure that we need shall be ingrained, and we are going to run an education system.
Why was the hurry? There ought to have been infrastructure before the transition.
Let me ask you, Victor. Since independence, we have been building schools. Over the last 60 years, have we succeeded in building the best? Definitely not. And I think at this time, with this administration and with the CDF funding, we must purposely push for deliberate direction of resources to our school system. And that is what we are doing now. We cannot complain about the past. It was not done, but what are we doing now, going into the future? That is a model, that is a master plan. And that is why I've said the investment in comprehensive school shall be real, and we'll have quality comprehensive schools in the long run. And teacher deployment, and we've talked about employment of teachers. If you look at the Education Charter of Kenya Kwanza, it identified the shortage as 116 in the country. And so far, 156,000 have been onboarded. Another further 54,000 will be onboarded in due course. And those who have been onboarded on internship shall be automatically converted to PNP without being subjected to interviews and any other thing, through gradual financial funding and direction of funds to TSC as the economy recovers. Very good. The president has stated it very clearly. And that's the roadmap. So let's not create confusion. Let us not be agents of confusion, of trying to disrupt the common order. I
don't know who are the agents of confusion.
Of course, then, like what Akelo is trying to advance. You know, Akelo does not understand this master plan. And I've asked him, Angalia mimi nyuma ya tent, then I do some workshop for you.
Maybe.
Let
me respond first. Maybe he will sort you out with Akelo.
Now, and then finally,
I'll come back to you. I'll come back kindly. Yes, Akelo. The issue of capitation as response.
Education is a public good.
Exactly. But I want you to also respond the issue of capitation.
Education is a public good.
Yes.
And the Presidential Working Party, which is being implemented through the back door, was not subjected to further public participation.
You mean?
It was not. Because it was.
Did you not validate it at the?
It was an inquiry.
No, you validated the report.
To implement it.
No, don't cheat. Don't lie to the public.
To implement it was supposed to be subjected to public participation.
The report before it was handed to the president was validated by stakeholders at Semester, and he was represented. So let us not cheat.
Let me just it was not subjected to public participation.
Okay. What do you mean by public participation?
When you talk about validation, you validate what has been subjected to public participation. The inquiry was given to the stakeholders, and in fact it was given to the press, not subjected to any form of feedback before the whole thing. So I don't want to go much into that, because Sosion is using it.
Don't understand.
So Sosion is using it to intimidate people who may think. Whom we think are not part of the Kenya Kwanza government. In his mind, he thinks that we are not part of government. A union in Kenya is part of the government of the day, because it is being run by the statutes of the union, of the government. But having a dissenting view on a matter important as education of this nature is not in any way eliciting some kind of opposition.
Yes.
Are you seeing that thing? Secondly, education that we are running and at transition is being subjected to a necessary mix-up. A necessary mix-up. Why do I say a necessary mix-up? We have accepted that the school is domiciled in the primary center. That one is granted. Nobody is now in doubt. We fought it, but we could not have our way. That is how.
Now, why were you fighting? Tell us.
That is how democratic processes operate. We have our standpoint, and in fact, the position still remains. The issue of laboratories for our schools, or workshops, or science kit, and so on, it is long overdue. I would want to ask anybody who has got evidence that there are science kits in any grade 7 school in Kenya to show me, because there would be samples in Kisumu, in Marakwet, in Homa Bay, and in Kwale of science kits in grade 7. There would also be...
But there is capitation being wired at 15,000 per child. What is the purpose of capitation?
The element of this...
What is the purpose of capitation?
I would wish that a civilized discussion, you give time to others also, not to interject and procedurally.
You are interjecting.
In the circumstance that we are talking about, laying a strong foundation for pathways, we must rethink our position in terms of the implementation and having the comprehensive school, as it were. It is not working well. We are now in second year of junior school. We are in the second year, and already some teachers are up in arms because they were also casuals. They were not given any assurance that they would be having an extension of their work. And in fact, we have talked to them. In fact, yes, the day before yesterday, they were in our offices. We are asking them to be strategic, to go back, because the president has given his word that they will be employed at the end of the day. But one thing is, the Teacher Service Commission has not done a bold thing. We have got an adjacent school just across the fence of a junior school, where there are teachers who have been posted. Nobody is coordinating that these people should be useful in the comprehensive school. That is what we should be discussing. That what happens, that we have got Teacher Service Commission employing the same teachers, but not asking teachers to go across the fence to teach the sciences, integrated science. How do you expect somebody who has Kiswahili and theory to teach integrated science, to teach mathematics, to teach creative arts? I think that kind of mess should be dealt with administratively. But now when my brother thinks that this is a political agenda that Akelo comes to do at KBC, it is cheapening the debate about education in Kenya. Cheapening the debate.
I'm calling you out because you are acting cheaply, and you are acting cheaply.
Let me make a brief comment on this. To neutralize the two of them.
Great.
First of all, Honorable Zossion is cheapening this debate.
How?
Making to be very cheap, as my brother Misori says.
How?
One, he is telling us here that primary school, the primary schools are grade 7 and grade 8 and grade 9 don't require laboratories. These children are doing science subjects.
Have I said
yes. Has he not said?
Have
Sorry.
I said it?
Has he not said that?
No, stop putting words
Let me
come
to that. He is from his own research.
In my mouth.
Let me from
I'm
his
a
own
science
research.
teacher myself.
From his own research.
None of you is a science teacher. So
take this, my brother, here.
Words in my mouth.
You cannot build a house on a weak foundation that tomorrow it will be strong. That's where it's coming from.
Yes.
From his own research, Mr. Zossion said that CBC will not succeed in Kenya because of poor policies in place on CBC. His own research, I have it.
And
I can
I
read.
have not changed that position.
And he has not changed it. Right now he's telling us
that
that,
supporting CBC.
Right now he's telling us, let me finish. Right now he's here talking to the public, telling them that the future would be honey and milk and bread. When the past has been destroyed, you can see right now the picture of 48,000 students getting E's in what? In KCSE. Already those lives are destroyed. Do you wait for tomorrow to get another better life? Why were they destroyed? The foundation was not well built. We are saying that proper involvement of all stakeholders in the matters of education in this country is a big role to be played. Parents must be on board. Teachers must be on board. Members of parliament must be on board.
No question about that.
Must be done. But
No
these
question about
guys
that.
are doing things behind the curtains. When he's telling us that during the President Working Party report, validation, we were involved. Was I there? Did you see me there? I'm a major stakeholder in this country.
Were you invited? Were you invited?
Was I invited? By who? Is there evidence? Ask the CS. Ask the PS. Was I invited?
Why was not invited?
When you are saying it was at semester, this validation should have been done at KCSE to allow all the public to witness, or KCSE, where you do those things. Why semester? Because it was private and confidential to a few individuals for other people's interest. So we are saying that the report was not validated up to now. We want this report back on board. And that's why a number of stakeholders are in court. You know that the case in court about this report, they are going on. Mheshimiwa is here. We are talking about research. Where there's no proper research, then success cannot come. Whether you build on a foundation, what kind. From his research, he said that CBC cannot succeed. CBC has so many ups and downs. Cost sharing for the parents is too much. They can't afford.
Yes.
You saw the teachers asking for cook and what. They were being blamed. It was not their fault. The teachers must do practicals. Once again, he's refusing that they should not be done. The distance to schools, even the head of state himself said that let schools share what? Laboratories. They share. You find primary school children from Odaya Primary crossing to Nyeri High School, 20 kilometers away to go for a science practical. These are weak children, less than 13 years old. They are walking, probably in rain, going for practice to a school of 40 kilometers away. We need schools to be improved. He should be telling us that he's going to go to parliament and tell these guys that members of parliament, you've been given money. Go and build more schools.
Yes.
For the parents.
Talk about the capitation. The president said, I think a day or two ago, there was a report that 51 billion shillings, is it 21 or 31 billion shillings have been released for capitation?
Yes.
Can you confirm?
When the president says action is taken, and I believe that the money has been released because no parent, no principal has called my office that they have no capitation. No, I've not had that. So I can't say that it was not released.
Okay.
Yes, it must have been acted on.
Very good.
I confirm that one.
Okay. Mwalimu Sosion, I want us to go to the issue of capitation. I want us to talk about the issue of capitation because now it's a big issue.
Yes, I'll talk about capitation.
Most parents are crying that the fee is too high. They're still spending on books. They're still spending on the necessities. What do you respond to this one?
Yeah, on capitation. And I've been on this space of campaign of government funding public education.
Very true.
For a long time.
Very true.
And there's a good reason for that. Kenya now is spending at least 6% of the GDP in education. Something that you can get in neighboring countries. Some countries are 2% or below. Kenya is devoting its own budget at 28%. And the president has stated very clearly, funds going to education in this financial year is 650 billion, the highest ever. That money is not meant for window dressing. And that is why we need now a very strong accountability system. And when the president said, for those who are corrupt, there are only three things and three options. When we are told that there are no science kits and 15,000 shillings has been released for every child, I think we must be getting a little bit mad or abnormal or something. What is the purpose of this money being wired to school? And it's basically for capitation. Capitation 100% is basically for tuition, and tuition 100%. So any child walking into the classroom cannot buy a textbook, an exercise book, and science kits. It is already factored and ring-fenced in the capitation money. So the question of learning resources for grade 8, it's budgeted for. Grade 9, grade 7, grade 8, and even all the secondary schools, science equipment, it is ring-fenced within the tuition for every child in all categories of schools, whether national or day. And that is why we have abolished categorization of schools so that all schools are the same and they receive equal treatment. And this funding on capitation will ensure that quality learning resources are available to every land. And that's a deliberate area of investment. Now we should be talking about what are the accountability structures, school by school, so that we ensure that these resources are put into good use. There's a big question. What is the money doing? And
my brother, let me tell you. Let me interject this.
No, you don't interject.
No. Let me also interject.
Just give him time.
No. He interjects, Mr. Sorry. Mr. Sossion is cheating us. He's cheating us, please. Allow me to stop him from cheating the public.
You cannot stop me.
Allow
This
me
show
to
is
stop
not
him.
yours.
All right.
Number two, on curriculum. On curriculum, that is being taught.
Allow me to that.
I'll
get back.
On curriculum. You have your right for rebuttal. On curriculum, that is being taught. And of course, the CBC that we raised, lots of issues. We took it back for public participation. And UNESCO recommendations allows for review. It was reviewed. And the learning areas have been scaled down. For example, secondary schools. The 14 areas where there are no teachers at all completely, because we never trained teachers for this curriculum. Then 14 areas that were too wide have been scaled down to 9.
Yes.
And then number 2, KICD has worked in pitching down the curriculum because it was high-pitched. So that then when you talk of lack of teachers, there were already teachers in the payroll who were teaching Standard 7, Standard 8. They can as well teach this curriculum now that it is pitched down. That is going to solve the issue of teacher shortage going into the future. And that is a matter that even TSC should be able to review. As we strengthen STEM education, even at all levels, and deploy competent teachers, we should be able to teach the same. So the curriculum has been pitched, has been remoderated through a review across all levels so that it can be effectively delivered. The cost burden and the materials that were being passed on to parents in the implementation of CBC has been weeded out. So a lot of good work has been done. Then lastly, what needs to be done, what we should be talking about, is having accountability structures in education. We need at the ministry to have a robust working quality assurance and standard department that is able to quality assure every learning institution, generate quality assurance standards reports, and then we have identified gaps of which school, of which sub-county, and of which region. That is what we need to do. We must run education within the framework of international best practices.
Thank you.
We cannot run it as if we are doing something in a marketplace. And that is why Kenya Kwanza administration is instituting order in the sector. And the results are being seen. Look even at the universities which were collapsing. They are now slowly coming back to life. And in 1 or 2 years, we shall see systems working.
Very good.
And that I can assure the parents of Kenya that all is well and all shall be well. And the government is in control to ensure that education leads to the correct trajectory, and Kenya should be able to deliver equitable quality education.
Do you take that assurance? Do you take that assurance? Do you take that assurance from
I'm not taking it, I'm opposing it because you don't do what he's talking about capitation, factoring of capitation.
Yes.
We are saying the government is trying what it can do as far as capitation is concerned. They are giving money. But are they giving this money at the right time? Do you wait schools to open for principals to complain that there's no money in schools, or you put money in the banks 3 months earlier before schools open? When the money goes to the bank like yesterday and schools have opened already, when the principals plan on how this money can be used? How sure are the parents that the money will be in the banks for capitation when the schools have opened? We are saying the government policies should be followed. If there's a policy on capitation, we want money in schools 3 months earlier. If the schools close in November, the government should put money the first week of December in banks for the principals to begin now planning how the schools will run on the opening day.
And that has been done.
We are saying now the review of the curriculum. Just look at this. This curriculum was reviewed probably during these holidays, December holidays. Parents had bought textbooks earlier for. The books were already done by KCSE.
You're not supposed to buy books. Books have been supplied by government.
Yes, what we are saying.
You don't need
books were supplied, but supplementary books parents buy. There's a list of books we buy. I'm a parent, I buy books. Now, already the books that were done from his research, he's the one who did the research, saying that CBC will not succeed. And actually his research now is now proving him again. He's now trying to say that his research was wrong. He did that saying that CBC may not succeed.
I've not departed from my research findings.
Let him allow me to finish.
It is the research findings that are informing even these changes.
Yes, allow me. Your research findings were to inform these changes earlier. You cannot wait for tomorrow schools are opening and you come and change the curriculum at night and ask parents to be comfortable with that curriculum.
Yes.
Right now, the teachers who are in the schools, we say there are very few on JCC schools. Go to a school, you find one teacher teaching 12 subjects. A teacher who is supposed to be teaching chemistry and physics is also teaching CRA, is also teaching Islamic in the same school. This is a teacher who is not trained in those areas. So first of all, that is a raw deal for the parents as far as teachers are concerned. The curriculum changes. This is new curriculum. The students have been doing 12 subjects. Already they have been doing that now. They wake up in the morning, now they're told you're going to do how many? You're going to do 9. They have changed. Taxpayers' money, which has already been invested in books, that could have gone on building laboratories and other things already, that money has gone into a waste. Because the curriculum was just changed overnight. So we are saying that policies are in place. What is wrong with the implementation? Do we have the right people to implement these policies or not? So you should be telling us. The policies is talking about being clearly implemented. And what's the reason? We are saying major stakeholders like the teacher unions and the parents associations are not involved in the implementation of the process of the education sector in this country.
Very
we
good.
are left out.
Okay.
And that's why there are problems right now.
I want to talk about the issue of capitation because that's now, it's back to school week this week. And most parents will tell you when they go to buy his textbooks and what have you, as you put it, Mr. Umhatsa, that they're still buying textbooks. I want you to chime in on that issue of capitation. What is your recommendation as Kupet?
I think, well, let me just talk about first some of the issues which have been raised about capitation.
Yes.
Capitation model is one of the best that was thought of. It was a well thought of idea. But it has not been followed, like it has not been actually implemented correctly to enable institutions to run the way they are supposed to run. Many schools rely heavily on this capitation, and there is mutilation of the funds which are for capitation. I think you saw that one clip here that a student is held up in India because the edu affair, the money which was meant to be for capitation, for that matter, has been retained.
Yeah.
That is what has been retained by the ministry, or it has been removed from the capitation, which what is supposed to be what was budgeted for, the one for health. It has been removed. Another thing is that when you talk about even the element of activities fees, a lot of money has been retained at the headquarters. So you realize that certain activities which are supposed to be done at the school level is being conducted at the Jogo. So you find a student per student, they are supposed to be given, I don't know whether it was about 400, then 200 shillings is the one which is posted to schools as capitation. So the percentage which is supposed to reach schools does not reach schools at the end of every financial year. So that means that there is always the challenge of meeting the obligations of what the school desires to have in terms of capitation. So I think being a good idea, the administration part of it has failed the education system.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is the problem. Yeah, it comes late, it is mutilated, and there is no clarity of the accountability of the capitated funds to schools.
I want to get your point, Molina.
At one particular point,
yes.
Remember last year, even the ministry did not know the amount they had disbursed to schools. They wrote about 3 circulars in 1 month to cover the amount which they had sent to schools. And they had asked even schools to account the money for money which they had not even received. And they were being asked to account for that money, asking every child to sign a form to be taken back to the ministry. So there is a lot of gray area in terms of this. But this is one of the best models which would guarantee the right and equity to education in Kenya.
Okay. 48,000 students scored an E. Does that really worry you in the last exam?
You know, in the way the public view exams, it is that everybody should get an A. There is the obsession that everybody should get an A. If they don't get an A, you should get a B+. And in every human society, sociologists say 5% are geniuses and 5% are also people who cannot. And this is the category we have in our education system. That you will have those who are performing highly according to the design of that curriculum and those who are not doing well. But there's also something which we must also underscore, that it is also a failure of the curriculum design. That how can somebody who has taken all the 4 years in undergoing instruction on the same thing just fail to get an average after an evaluation? It means that one stop exam is not a clear justification for the performance of an individual. And we cannot say that the person who got an E cannot get anywhere. And that's why we are saying that in the continuum of getting grade A up to E, what the government has put in place currently is that you get a pathway of going to do what we call block release in terms of TVET. You can undergo a training at a basic certificate course, artisan course, and then you can also make a living.
Right.
Because there's no failure. The fact that you have gotten an E does not mean that you have failed. You have only underperformed in that exam.
Okay. Mr. Muhasa, there's a question here directly for you.
Yes.
Someone is asking that, do you have any reason why KCSE exams haven't been released, and are parents worried about their children crossing to junior secondary school without results on this?
Thank you. Before I react on that one, I want to say something about the 48,000 students who have scored E's. One thing I want to say that these students were in schools in this country. The schools have boards of management, there's government capitation being given, there's parental support, and there was national examination that was done, a common exam for all of them. It's worrying that 48,000 students will still score an E, having been in a school all the way from ECD up to Form 4 level. We need a proper research done to understand why this happened. We as parents, we need to have that come out clearly in future to understand what happened. Two, we need some assurance from the government on what will happen to these students. Not only that is called the E. You know, any student who scores a C playing downwards to E, the future is not granted by the government. We need some kind of a way forward on this one. The question of KCSE examinations is very worrying. It's very worrying because if already the students are in classes now in grade 7, and yet the results have not been released, it's like taking students to Form 1 when KCSE has not been released. How does that happen? I think you're getting my question. It's like taking Form 1s to class without KCSE results being released. So parents of grade 6 were highly expecting to get the results of their children. And you know, sometimes in the past we have been demanding that when exams have been done in this country, the question papers must go back to the parents for them to assess. The teachers must assess again and see how are they marked. The KCSE exams, we don't even know. Parents are asking, were the exams marked? Is there evidence? Now, the children in class, grade 7 already, they are learning. Where are the results? How do they qualify to go to grade 7? The government is here. Maybe you can speak on that.
Sosion, go ahead.
Yes, KCSE exams, I think initially it was supposed to be a transitional exams from primary to secondary. In the previous confused and disorganized CBC model. But after the review of our education structure, and it was found wise to domicile grade 7, 8, and 9 in the current comprehensive school, which remains the same. KCSE exams was downgraded to be a national evaluation exam. And the minister has made it very clear that these reports will be made individually to the school and to the students. So it's just a mere evaluation report. It is not a transitional exam. All the grade 6 learners proceed automatically to grade 7 in the respective schools. So I think parents should be very clear. KCSE exams was not supposed to be used for transition. It's an evaluation exam.
My friend.
It is being processed by NEC, and it shall be communicated.
Socioni, stop cheating the public. Stop cheating. This was a national examination conducted. Taxpayers' money was spent on this examination. Teachers were enrolled. to go and invigilate and supervise the examination. How do you supervise an examination that results don't come out in public using taxpayers' money?
Okay, respond to that.
Victor,
go ahead.
I don't think we are engaging in a shouting match here. You asked me to explain. I've explained. The evaluation report will be communicated to the schools and the students. And
when?
Yeah, of course, the minister stated. The minister stated that's the work of NEC. They're finished with KCSE. That will be done, and the transition will go. That one, no doubt about it. So there will be results, and I don't think that's an item even worth discussing any further.
Okay.
Then on capitation, which Akela has talked about, the model is very clear: 50% term 1, 30% term 2, and 20% term 3. And we've seen the funds have been released to the tune of 31 billion shillings. And I should say, Kenya has done very well to put in funding to education from primary to secondary, and even funding at the universities. And then number 2, parents buying books. No parent is supposed to buy books unless those who are in private schools and they so choose to be parents in private schools, and when they're instructed by the owners to buy, that is their own arrangement at that level. The books for learning in all public schools have been supplied by government and shall be supplied by government. That's what we have advocated for. And even the books, KICD has reviewed the curriculum, is reviewing books, is reviewing content, and a lot of work is in progress, as was raised by Kenyans. That is being addressed, and therefore even the learning resources are also being reviewed by KICD. I think we should be very happy that as a country, the EduAfya came to cover the students, other than the tuition. The EduAfya and the medical cover being covered by government has since been subsumed in the Primary Healthcare Facilities Act. And that does not mean it has been abolished. The UHC, which has got 3 components, will subsume the health coverage of all the learners in our schools. So even those who are in India will continue being covered. And there should be no worry about it.
Are you referring to this story, Mr. Sosion?
Yes.
Yeah, there's
if a child was shipped to India, yes.
It's on front page. It's actually on.
And I'm giving a very straight response.
On the Daily Nation.
I'm giving a straight response.
Yes.
These students who are evacuated.
It's on the Daily Nation here. 6 students stuck in India as EduAfya covered dries up.
The students who were evacuated to India will still be covered. Nothing has changed.
They have been there for 2 months.
The only thing, EduAfya has migrated and has been subsumed into the SHIF, the primary healthcare facilities, and so students will still be covered within the framework of universal health coverage. That one, there should be no worry about it, and then we should be happy. Students in Kenya are fully paid for in terms of exams by government, and that will continue to be done. What stakeholders should be asking is accountability structures on how this money is used. We must strengthen the school audit system so that all the funds that go into school are audited, and it gives value to the parents.
Yes.
And that is how to achieve true quality free education. We cannot deploy money to schools without checking how it is done. We must have strong audit structures in place. Back to the 48,000 students we have scored E.
Yes.
If we get back to statistics from 2015, for example, the number of students who had E's were about 10,000. But when these reforms were brought in carelessly in 2016, which have dogged the education sector for the last couple of years, the number of E's went up, the number of A's reduced, and even those qualifying to universities. Look at 2015. C+ and above were 265,000. 265,000. That was a significant number as per the candidature. 2016, because of the reforms, where those in charge of the ministry, I would say, committed genocide against students. Exams are not supposed to punish students. Exams are supposed to facilitate transition. And I think we have embedded a culture of condemning students using exams. That is wrong. So in 2016, cohort, 88,000 attained C+ and above.
Right.
2017, 70,000. It dropped to 70,000. While there were 140,000 vacancies at the university. 2018, 98,000. And then 120. 130. And then last year, through the reforms that have been undertaken by the ministry, the number rose to 173,000, which is 19%. This year, through the revised model, it has risen to 201,000, which is 22%. But I don't think that is a number we should be having. We should be able to surpass 265,000. Omboha Tsahia, the parent chair, so he says, knows too well that the vacancies in the universities are 301,000. So when you have 201,000 qualifying, we still have a gap of 100,000. The question begs, does it mean that all these 800,000 candidature cannot supply a further 100,000 to join the universities? Yes, our students are competent, and there's a lot that needs to be done within the exam. The reforms being undertaken by NEC must be supported so that we can give exams a human face. And that explains why the curve is what you call positively skewed. So fat at the left-hand side and so thin towards the end. It should be a normal curve. And that is why a lot needs to be done to look at the factors that are leading to the failures of the 48,000 on E. If you look at the numbers, it is not just 48,000 at E. There is 165,000 at D minus, 150,000 at D, and if you total all that, that is 400,000. It is half the candidature.
All right.
It is a cause for worry, and that is why the Ministry of Education, two things should do. Strengthen the quality assurance and standard department. That is going to look into the quality and delivery at the school level. And then number two, strengthen the school audit unit. If that is done, and open general public conversation. And I would like to say Kenya Kwanza administration is open to conversation within the education sector. We shall run a democratic and open education system that allows everybody to participate regardless of beliefs, regardless of political shades. We are not running politics at the moment. Education is a public good, and everyone
let's cross over to
shall
Kisumu.
be allowed to participate.
Let's head over to Kisumu. Wycliffe Okech is on standby. Following this discussion, it's back to school week, this particular week, and then I have got brilliant minds here behind the education system in Kisumu. Perhaps we just cross over to Kisumu. Wycliffe Okech. Director, there you have it. Wycliffe Okech, good morning. This is a discussion that we are having here, matters education, marking and grading our education system in the country. Perhaps if you can just chime in on this discussion, what is happening on that lakeside city? Wycliffe.
A very good morning to you, Victor Lowe, back in the studio in Nairobi. It is quite a chill morning here in the lakeside city of Kisumu. And looking at the education affairs in the country, we know this is the back to school week in the country, and we know that prior to that the government released capitation to facilitate early education, and now that it is the CBC curriculum and the JSS learners are in school, and that is actually where we are here at Nyamasaria Comprehensive School. I am made to understand that it is called Nyamasaria Comprehensive School in the sense that it accommodates the early learners, the early primary, middle primary, junior secondary school and all that. And you can just see behind me here, I believe you are able to see behind me here, learners are in class. They are braving the chilly morning here in the lakeside in their quest for knowledge. Victor, before I delve deeper into what's going on here, let me just engage Mwalimu Eli Ondiek, who is the head teacher here at Nyamasaria Comprehensive. Our interest here at this school, we know that earlier on the JSS intern teachers had threatened to down tools, wanting the government to promote them or rather to employ them on permanent and pensionable terms. But then the government maintained that they have to undergo internship for 2 years. Thereafter, they will be absorbed on permanent and pension basis. So I want to talk to Mwalimu Eli just to confirm if the JSS teachers are in school and actually undertaking their duty. Mwalimu, good morning, and this is KBC Good Morning Kenya. We are here to confirm if the JSS intern teachers are in school, and this is the back to school week. How is it? How is the situation here at Nyamasaria Comprehensive?
Thank you very much, Bwana Wycliffe and your team. Welcome to Nyamasaria Comprehensive School, comprising of ECD primary section, that is grade 1 up to 6, And junior school, grade 7 to 9, though now we have grade 7 and 8. We are fully back. We came back on Monday 8th. All our learners are back. All our teachers are back, including the JSS plus the interns. I want to thank my teachers, especially the JSS interns. They did not join the rest. Actually, they really appreciate the government, because if it were not for that internship, they would have been tammacking outside. So they are very happy, and they are in class even right now. Yes.
Looking at the ratio of the learners you have under the CBC curriculum vis-a-vis the teachers that are undertaking the CBC learning areas, what would you comment?
What I would say is that now that we are having grade 8, at least the number of teachers needs to be added, because another one class has, we have added another one class. Yes, we need more teachers.
According to the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, the learning areas were revised from 14 to 9, and that means total number of lessons per week also reduced from 40 to 35. What do you think? What do you make of that move? How is it going to impact on the teachers and also the learner side?
It's a very good move, and we really supported it, because we realized that the learners were seriously overloaded. When you see the number of books that the learners are carrying back home, it was a burden. And also the brain capacity at this level is still very low. They cannot accommodate that large size of subjects. So reducing the number of subjects came at the right time, and we support it. Yes.
Well, the CBC curriculum, since introduction, it has been there for a while now, and you being the head teacher here, probably you've taken note of probably the weak links and what more needs to be done. What will you say about that lastly?
There were challenges, but they are minor. Actually, the Presidential Working Party addressed most of the challenges. One of them being reducing the number of subjects, which has been done. The other one was employing more teachers. The government has tried, and up to this far, we really appreciate. So we are not lamenting, but we are just asking the government to add more, so that we don't have any shortage, but the teaching is going on. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mwalimu Eli. Victor, that is Mwalimu Eli Ondiek, the head teacher of Nyamasaria Comprehensive here in the Lakeside Kisumu, telling us about the CBC rollout. He says that we did a fair share of challenges during the initial stages, but those challenges have now since been overcome thanks to the Presidential Working Party on education reform that has recommended quite a number of changes, one of them being the reduction of the number of learning areas from 14 to 9, and that translating to the reduction of the number of total lessons per week, that is from 40 to 35. And he's saying that that's quite a massive positive change for the learners and also for the teachers, in the sense that now the learning burden has quite reduced. Like I've mentioned, the learners are in school. Like we've heard Mwalimu Ondiek saying that all the learners are back since 8th, and learning is underway in the Lakeside city of Kisumu, specifically here at Nyamasaria Comprehensive. Well, that is it from here. We will come back to our viewers later on again at 10, just to as we continue with this spot check in various schools to see how learning is going on during this first week of back to school. Back to you, Victor Olo, for that to continue with the studio interview. Back to you.
Quickly, in just 1 second before I let you go, is there the issue of capitation and school buying books? Can you confirm, ask the teacher, if parents were asked to buy books, or no student was allowed to come with books in school? Perhaps? All right, very good. All right, thank you. Beautiful catch. Coming all the way from Kisumu. That is Nyamasaria Comprehensive School. And the teacher said that learning is back to its full cycle. So, Walimu Sosion, you must be happy.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
What has been planned by government is being executed very well. The comprehensive school model must take shape. The resources must give value to every learner and to every household. And that is exactly what is being implemented. And so we should not cause divisions and confusion. Let us all support comprehensive school model to work. Let us support the senior secondary school model. In fact, with these reforms, the biggest challenge is not even at the comprehensive level. The biggest challenge will be at the senior secondary level. That we must prepare the number of teachers that will be required, the amount of infrastructure, because then those who will even choose the pathway of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Very quickly, there's a question here for you.
They must be properly facilitated.
There's a question here for you.
So I think we should prepare in advance now for SSS.
All right, we're running out of time. There's a question here for you that if KCSE results have not been released, we have got 48,000 who scored an E. How are we able to tell that the students did fail or did not pass?
The exams was not meant to fail. It's an evaluation.
So
it is not meant to generate failures. That is the kasumba that Kenyans have, that we give exams so that we generate failures out of our children. And I don't think even this KCSE should even be made public whatsoever. It has reached a time that we must tone down the exaggerated drama and bravado around the exams. It's a normal evaluation. It's an integral part of teaching and learning. We should even remove the police from guarding and supervising these exams. We should make examinations normal and evaluation normal, so that we avoid this exaggerated too much. Now somebody is saying, oh, how do we know whether students have failed or passed? The exams are not there.
I'll treat that as your closing remarks. Mr. Mohatsa, at the end of the day, where do you see the education system moving forward?
First, I want to say that I want to thank the Kenya Kwanza government as far as the education is concerned in the country right now. I don't think if there's any government that has ever been committed to supporting education as the Kenya Kwanza government is doing right now. Because the president himself has been on the front line saying all children must be in school. He's looking for 100% transition in the first place. He's supporting and even saying that he is pleading where we don't have many things like laboratories and other infrastructure in place. He is even going ahead requesting the private school owners and other well-wishers to support the schools where children don't have those facilities. And it has worked. We have seen children close to schools and they share facilities as far as learning is concerned. Finally, the issue of capitation. The government is very committed that the money should be in school and the students should be in school. And even you saw the other day, the president was talking about CDF money. He is making sure that the members of parliament have been given CDF money to make sure that the poor parents can access funding for their children. And therefore I say this. Rome was not built in one day. There is much going on as far as education in this country is concerned. We must be there to support what the government is doing. We must sit and go ahead with the government. We can't always complain. Thank you. Parents
now,
support
Chairman,
the government.
you're speaking.
So
Chairman, now you're talking.
Should support the government because parents own
Chairman,
schools.
you're talking.
Parents believe that the government owns schools. It's not the parents. The schools are found in communities where parents are. Every community should make sure that the parents around their schools support their what? Their school systems by being fully involved. Because that's who own schools. So I ask parents to rally behind me. We support the government.
I need to ask you this question, but probably maybe privy to what government says. Before I come to Mwalimu to wind up for us, any hope for future education system?
If you look at what we are doing,
any secret somewhere behind the scenes, huko nyuma?
if you look at the agenda of Kenya Kwanza, bottom-up economic transformation towards industrialization of manufacturing, value addition and industrializing the country and moving to the fourth industrial revolution of driving everything with ICT and the 5 pillars of Kenya Kwanza. One of them is ICT superhighway. All this cannot be achieved without revolutionizing education. I want to say what is going on in Kenya, and within the ecosystem of Kenya Kwanza administration led by President Ruto is revolution in education.
Yes.
It's all revolution. We are not going to do things the same way. And not just revolution, it's a very empirical revolution that is going to lip. Very empirical.
That is going to lip. Missouri, to make him happy.
I'll tell Akelo Missouri, who is my friend and who was my classmate, you know, understanding things and engaging in structured conversation will make us speak in a better language and do things in a more unified way. The way the chairman has seen light. So my brother here, whom I converse a lot in private and in public, and can you see me Nyuma attend, and then can you have a unified way? I'd
love to be part of that discussion.
But then you don't vacate your position of criticizing the government honestly in a structured way. But things that are right, support. Things that are not right, you must always stand and say no.
On Edu for the parents. On Edu, no. I didn't answer that myself. It was to Honorable himself. May I just say shortly that actually if there are changes on Edu Afia scheme, we would want the government to come out clear quickly and advise parents if there's any alternative for them to be rest assured. Because they're worried on that.
And that communication has come out. They are covered.
Thank you. Our coffee is getting cold. All right. Final word.
Now let us make education issues very, very important. Education is not cheap, and what is early education is funding. It is funding. And from our point, we are saying we are going public, fund public education. Education is a public good, and we cannot use inequality to make it more private, like it obtains today. That currently, because of poor facilities in many schools, you realize that there is always the tendency that people must go to very big schools where they know very well there is proper staffing, the resources are there. So we are already overburdening those schools. And as my brother has already indicated, the major challenge ahead is senior school, where we are going to choose pathways.
Yes.
On a very weak foundation as it is currently, on a very weak foundation as it is currently, we are likely to have real challenges in selecting people to join the senior school where pathways are supposed to be there. Everything must be done in advance, and those teachers must be prepared in advance to receive the learners from junior school. It is going to be very bad if we destroy a generation simply because we lacked planning sessions. So this is very, very critical.
Thank you. All right. Asante sana. Today it will be core class 101. We've talked about matters education, of course with brilliant minds, all with education background, and that is how we were to get it. I thank you, Akelo Missouri, who is the Secretary General of KUPPET, David Omuhatsa, who is the Chair, National Parents Association, as well as Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, CAS. If I don't say that, I know I will not get out of this studio. Former NAT Secretary General. Asante sana. Gentlemen, thank you so much for watching part of the show. I'm Victor Lo. Have a good morning. Let's go and build Kenya. Thank you.
Iko nini? Tukuli ni nini? Tukuli ya bachelor's boys whatever. Tukuli ndio hiyo mheshimiwa.
Wewe ni mtoto.
Mimi si mtoto.
Unasoma hiyo shule?
Sisomi kwa hiyo shule.
Sasa utadropiwa wapi?
Kwani nani chako ndio hiyo?
Wewe anakidnap mtoto, ana traumatize mtoto sababu ya pesa ngapi wewe?
Na wakati wewe na kunyima pesa ndani ya nyumba, unasikianga namna gani?
Nasikianga ni kama naweza call it and then na nitafute bwana mwingine.
I had noticed that your hormone levels were irregular, so I asked them to include the test.
No, you had no right to do that series of tests.
I didn't say anything when you threw her out. But now, I don't agree with you that she's not entitled to set foot in this house just because you say so.
I'm pregnant! I've just found out. What's wrong, Marcel?
I'm going to speak with my mom. I cannot have you around here any longer. Look, Mom, I am terribly sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave right now.
Habari njema kutoka redio yako pendwa ya Ingo FM kwa wakazi na mashabiki wa Bungoma. Sasa Ingo FM inasikika Ingo Bungoma kupitia masafa ya 103.5 FM. Sikiliza na uchangie, burudika ukifurahia uhondo wa kipekee kwa lugha ya nyumbani.
Awamu ya Baraga UCC, natural sweetness.
Kadhalika, tegea Ingo FM ukiwa maeneo ya Kakamega, Busia, Vihiga na Trans Nzoia kupitia 101.5 FM.
Isenikoli omwana wa kwendo mkhana wa imoni dala nombo nyala kunanga KK.
Ingo FM, ininginingi ye Muitala.
For me, baby, I'm sorry that you're sorry, but sorry can't dry my tears, lady.
Lay your head to rest, baby. Let us put love to the test, baby.
随便扔就可以，随便扔不没事，不用对那，随便扔一下。他就是想起了加速器里面的粒子膨胀。这样的事情真的发生了吗？在药能的实验室里，绝不可能；在已知的物理学里，绝对不可能。我们觉得不可能。行，现在还相信医学。时间的尽头。
دريتيش يما اللي حاصل وانت غايبة.
Ningependa tuzungumzie aina za watu ambao hawataweza kuonja ama kunusa hata harufu ya pepo ya Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala.
Katika sifa hizi 10 zimetajwa hapa, ukiwa nazo kutokamana na mafundisho ya Bwana Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam, wataingia katika moto wa Jahannam.
Born in March 1948, Nyaga graduated with a bachelor's degree in economics and political science from the University of Nairobi in 1970. He proceeded to the United States for a master's degree in management, finance and management option. He then worked at the First National Bank of Chicago, which is part of today's JP Morgan and Chase Bank, New York, Kenya Bus Service, McRae and Smith Accountants and British American Tobacco Kenya Limited. Between 1987 and 1991, he was Chief Executive Officer of the national carrier Kenya Airways. Before moving to the Kenya Airways, he was Kenya's ambassador to the European Union, Belgium and Luxembourg for 4 years. Nyaga was among President Daniel Arap Moi's cabinet appointees after the 1997 general election. In the new cabinet lineup announced on 9th January 1998, just days after being appointed to the cabinet, Nyaga asked the media to pursue reconciliation among Kenyans in the wake of the divisive 1997 general election. He promised to create a conducive atmosphere for press freedom. Nyaga was Minister for Information and Broadcasting during the clamour for the liberalisation of the airwaves. It was during his tenure that the Communications Commission of Kenya, since renamed Communications Authority of Kenya, was established. It is charged with the allocation of radio and television broadcasting frequencies. In November 1999, Nyaga was moved to the Ministry of Lands and Settlement just as the media bill was being debated. He had set up a task force on press laws to draft the bill. Nyaga was later moved to the office of the President as Minister of State. But before the 2002 general election, he left KANU and resigned from his ministerial position to join the opposition's National Rainbow Coalition. In 2009, he was appointed for cooperative development and marketing in the coalition government of President Mwai Kibaki and Prime Minister Raila Odinga. But this time he was a member of the Orange Democratic Movement Party's Pentagon, a summit of the party leadership. He was also the Chancellor of the Cooperative University of Kenya from 2016 to 2017. Between 2013 and 2017, he served as Presidential Advisor in charge of Northern Corridor integration projects before he resigned to run for President as an independent candidate. He came a distant third in the August 8, 2017 general election that was annulled by the Supreme Court over irregularities and malpractices. He also lost in the subsequent repeat presidential election. Nyaga wrote a number of books, including An Africa's Minister's Lesson for Cooperatives. He died on December 11, 2020. Jackie Wambiru, The Cabinet.
That was one very heated debate just before we got to watch that feature right there with Victor and his panel. That was a very heated and great debate that was happening and conversation that was happening right here on Good Morning Kenya. Thank you for staying with us, and we get to continue and get into our next segment. And there is an alarming number right here. 65% of girls and women in this country do not have access to sanitary towels, and 50% of girls openly discuss menstruation at home. That means that 50% of girls also do not at all discuss menstruation at home. These numbers are alarming, and if you may ask me, they are very, very disappointing, especially the 65% that do not have access to sanitary towels, especially in this particular generation. And joining me just to talk about this particular conversation, which is on menstrual health and menstrual hygiene, is Jemima Nyarondia, and she is the founder Born to Be Awesome initiative. Jemima is a menstrual health and women empowerment champion. Jemima, welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you, Vivian.
It's a pleasure to have you on board.
Pleasure too.
Now, this number is 65% of girls. I mean, as I was just searching on that, researching on it, that number really alarmed me. 65% of girls in this country, girls and women, do not have access to proper sanitary towels. What do you make of that? I mean, it's so disappointing.
Yeah, it's so disappointing.
And it's a shame.
It's so alarming. It's so shameful to us. people, because, you know, getting access to sanitary towels has become, it's almost like a norm now. Because most of the people in the rural, okay, for me, I do it, I advocate in the rural areas. The accessibility is very scarce. With the pricing of the sanitary towels, the access, like where I dwell on, the accessibility is scarce because of minimum shops and the pricing. And then the brands are few. And the awareness is low. That's why we've come in to support the girls in the rural areas by creating awareness in education, in hygiene, in health, and how to access these pads easily. That's why we've introduced the reusable pads.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to talk about the reusable pads and just how effective they are. But when talking about menstrual health and menstrual hygiene, if we may just define that, what exactly is menstrual hygiene?
When we talk about menstrual hygiene, we talk about the reproductive health and we talk about the infections. And when we talk about this, we talk to girls about their health when menstruating and how to observe hygiene during menstruation. Of which, when we talk about this with them, it creates an emotional well-being to the women and girls in the society.
And how does one maintain a good menstrual hygiene and just the importance of that?
Number one, you'll check your hygiene with whatever you'll use for your menstruation. There are some people who don't access disposable sanitary pads. They will end up using things like mattresses, things like cotton wool or blankets, or tear some pieces of sheets, clothes to use. Okay, that one is understandable because this one particular girl hasn't been able to access a sanitary towel. So if she decides to use this stuff, she'll have to maintain hygiene by when using this stuff. She has to access water too, because kabisa she has to clean this stuff that she's using, like the pieces of clothes. And when one is using disposable pads, we talk to them about the timing, changing time. We talk about the kind of material for the disposable pads they'll use, and we'll talk about how to, when changing, I have to wash my hands. When walking around, running around, have to maintain my, like when I'm standing, I have to check how is my situation behind. I have to, it's like, it's a normal thing. So we, health-wise and mentally, we talk to them about being free to everyone, so that it even when you're on your periods, let me put it like this. It's just a normal thing.
I mean, it's nature.
It's nature.
It's natural
so
for every
when I stand
woman.
up, when I go to the toilet to change, I have to wash my hands. When I'm back in class, the neatness and everything. It's time for me to change my pad. I've observed the hygiene and my health. It's time for me to those stuff.
Now that you've just pointed out that you work with rural girls in rural areas mainly, maybe while you're going around, while you're on ground, what are some of the myths that are associated with menstruation? And how are you working on debunking and dispelling them?
On menstrual health education, we aim on breaking taboos and dispelling these myths to provide accurate information about menstrual health hygiene, practices and proper use and care of disposable and reusable pads. But when you're in the field in these rural areas, you'll come across women and girls. Actually, some of them are shocked to see what a disposable pad look like, and they'll end up telling you, for me, when I'm on my periods, I'll stay in the house, I'll mens on myself. Others will tell you, this mattress that I sleep on, I sacrifice it monthly. Just cut a piece this month, like that. Others will say, like, my t-shirts are my t-shirts are what I use for my menses. Others will say they dig a hole. And there's somewhere in Turkana they do use the skin of an animal for their menses. So we're trying to break these taboos and talking to them on how to use disposable pads by providing the disposable and reusable pads to them and making them accessible to them. So like for us, our organization, we visit schools every term and share with them at least packets that will last them for the term and for the holiday time, and when they come back for the next term, like that, it's all the time, they at least most of the time, every month they have a packet to use.
I'll just to now get into the reusable and washable sanitary towels. Just how effective are they? And zinakaji? Like, ikona material gani, and just how effective are they? How often should one change this one? And when you're changing this, how are you going about it? Because kwa hizi sanitary zengine ambazo huwa tuna, the ones that are known, the brands that are known, when changing, you just dispose them as you change to a new one. So for this reusable one, while you're changing, and okay, first just answer how often do you change before I get into the other bit of the question.
For the reusable pads, the material that we use will allow you to change the normal way you'll change your disposable pad. We have for the materials we use, there's a night pad and there's a during the day pad. For they have 3 types of materials. There's a material, the down material doesn't leak at all, and the middle material is a cotton fleece that absorbs, and then the top material is a fleece that doesn't make you wet or burn. You're just comfortable. It's just like the disposable pad. The difference is when I change, I have to wash it. And then you have to observe high hygiene, because this is something that even you have to be careful on how you dry it. Kwa sababu lazima ikauke kabisa for you to use it again. So we advise under the sun.
Actually, that is where my question is coming in. You said for you, when changing, you have to wash it. So what are you using as you're washing this and waiting for it to dry? What are you using?
Okay, for when we give these girls the reusable pads, the reusable sanitary towels, we give them enough.
Okay, it's not just one.
Yeah, not one. Okay. When you give her one, how will she change? How will she manage her day-to-day activities? So when she changes, when going to school, she'll carry like 2 extra. And then for the girls who have heavy periods, we'll change between 2 hours, and for those who don't have heavy periods, 4 hours. So at the end of the day, she'll end up using 2 or 3. And then we teach them how to fold them. We provide for them a small bag on how to pack them until they're home, and then they wash them and make sure they rinse it well. Actually, when washing, we advise them to soak the sanitary towel, the reusable towel, for 20 minutes first, and then use just a little unscented soap. Advice on bar soap, or on bar soap, and then rinse it well and make sure they hang where there's at least they can access sun. And for the night, the night reusable pads can carry you the whole night if you're not having heavy periods. Yeah.
Okay, so for the reusable ones, you also have the ones that are designed for nighttime as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And from this number, from the statistics that we've just mentioned from the beginning of this conversation, that 65% of girls and women who do not have access to sanitary towels, most of them clearly it's simply because of the finances. You know, they're too expensive for someone to keep buying every single month. Do you feel like the reusable ones are the solution? Because I'm seeing most of the reusable sanitary towels being introduced. You know, there's also the menstrual cup, which is also being advised now to just help. You know, do you feel this is the solution to try and cut this number?
The number and the cost, yeah. In the rural, they will tell you, I prefer using a reusable pad. Because the accessibility for disposable is down. And for the reusable pads, most of them, they'll tell you, I'll prefer the disposable because I don't have access to water. We have a challenge of water, and we have to talk about sanitation in the area. So akikwambia mimi siwezi pata maji nioshe, pia ni ngumu. So you have to look for a way apate accessibility to the disposable pads. But to areas where they have water, they prefer the reusable sanitary towels.
Okay.
Because it even lessens the budget in the house.
Yeah, it does. So it's one of the solutions.
Because we discovered even in some homes, when you give them the disposable pads, I decided like to give you a packet of a box of disposable pads. Hey, the ladies in the house will end. Okay, mama wa nyumba taamua, you'll use this one packet. The rest of the packets, I'll sell them so that you guys can eat. Those are some of the challenges we are facing in the rural. Yeah. So that's why we prefer the reusable.
And when we're talking about menstrual hygiene generally, as you've mentioned, we're not just talking about the accessibility of the sanitary towels. We also should be looking into, you know, is there proper like water supply? Do we have a clean and functioning toilet? Because you can easily get infections, you know. And then there's also a means of disposal. So when it comes to means of disposal, my question is on the reusable ones. Do they have a time frame? Do you ever get to a point where now this one it's worn out?
Yes.
Or it's there, it can,
it can last you for a year. It's just like a cloth. When you overdo a cloth, it will get worn out. So within a period of time, after 6 months or 1 year, you'll have to provide for them more. And then, we ask other organizations that are doing the reusable sanitary to at least reach these girls in the rural, because within a period of 6 or 1 year, itakuwa worn out.
Okay.
It's a cloth. When you wash,
definitely wears out.
Yes.
Okay. And just how was the Born to Be Awesome initiative birthed? Maybe if you can just give us a backstory of what made you decide to, you know, start this initiative.
The initiative is 1 year and some months old. We started it back with my partner, Carl Terry, in Western region, where we found that there were so many challenges about menstrual health and hygiene, and the story about the myths, the taboos, zimejaa sana. So after analyzing 1 or 2, coming across different families and the challenges, now we decided, hapana, msichana hata chekelewa tena in the society. No, that's how Born to Be Awesome was birthed. Yeah.
And just how far are you now since you started?
Okay. So far we've reached out almost 1,500 girls, let me say so, roughly. And we visit several schools in each term. This year we're adding more schools to our timetable. And we've come up with women empowerment too. When I talk about women empowerment in our organization, we are coming up with groups of women, training them on how to sew the reusable sanitary towels. So far we've done a huge project back in Mount Elgon. We've provided them with some sewing machines, materials, and now they're on training on how to sew the reusable sanitary towels. And once they're done, we'll do production, and we'll be helping them. Now e-commerce comes in. We'll be helping them sell to other organizations. At least they put food on their table. And more production will be used to schools that we visit. And then when we talk about e-commerce and hygiene, we are making soap too. We provided them an industrial soap mixer. They do soap and provide soap to schools for hygiene and to homes, and then they do sell too.
Is there a specific reason why that particular region is where you decided to start with?
Okay, when we went the first time visiting Mount Elgon, tulianza tu from the roads, we could see there's something wrong around. Let me say it's like a forgotten place, as in it's a place where even you, when you decide going there, you have to jipanga how I will access Mount Elgon, because there's this thing of war and everything. When we went there for the first time, visiting the first school, we asked them a few questions on how they get to go through their menstrual, how they access the disposable pads. It was just like a story to them. Wanakuangalia zile za like, sasa huyu anasema.
Like it was all news, new news.
Sawa, I know there's always, but how do I get to buy that always? And how will I tell my mom I'm on my periods? Because mom akona challenge ya pesa. How will I approach my mom? How will I approach the society? I'd rather stay back at home, stop schooling, such stuff. So most of the girls there, when they start their menses, okay, from the stories they tell us, most of the parents advise them now, umekuwa msichana, go get married. And when you get married,
what do you mean? I mean, some start their menses as early as 9 years old, 10 years old.
It's true, it's happening.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you get married, you'll get access to these things. Because mimi sina pesa ya kukupatia every month. You're like, even 50 shillings you can't afford. No, let her go get married. The husband will sort her. Other girls, wanaamua sasa, me I'll go look for a man who'll be providing mimi for every month, at least I get a packet. You get? We have these stories, actually in Mount Elgon, we have cases of teenage pregnancies a lot. And when you do your research to know how this early motherhood imejaa huko, it's about the menstruation.
That is what is driving them.
Driving them to that. Yes. So we have a lot of teenage mothers back there. At least we're trying to help them access something, go back to school, because most of them, they say life has become difficult because of only a packet. I got pregnant.
That is so unfortunate.
Yes.
I mean, I hope people who are listening to this can just understand how unfortunate it is, and just how disheartening it is to know that such things are happening now. I don't know, don't you feel that sanitary towels should be free? I feel like this is something that should be given freely to every girl.
There's a time I was here for an interview, the same. And I felt like the girl child is being treated unfairly. You know, condoms are free.
Yeah.
Condoms are free. If I go to a Kanjo toilet down here, I'll get a dispenser of condoms.
Yeah.
That is what I would wish for menstruation. Any toilet I step in, I would really love to see a dispenser for sanitary towels. Si ati condoms pekee. Yeah, you're preventing magonjwa, you're preventing pregnancies with condoms, but make this lady, this girl comfortable. Anajua imenipata on time, off guard. I can run to this toilet and
I'll find.
Yeah. But here, in this, some of the toilets, unaambiwa pad ni 10 bob moja. Utafanya? Sina hiyo 10 bob. What will I do? So, diminish this lady girl, and emotionally, physically, ata unapata. That's why we have many girls wako so down emotionally and socially. Wanajidharau wengi.
They lack the confidence because I mean, when you can't afford to, just get a simple thing as sanitary towels, it also lowers your dignity. It is so unfortunate, and I hope that the honorable members out there, especially women honorable members, can really shout and scream about this in the right places so that we get to have free sanitary towel, access to free sanitary towel to all the all girls and women, more specifically school-going children, primary school, high school, at least.
Yes.
And if we may just go on with this conversation, as there's also, I said that 50% of girls do not openly speak about menstruation in their homes, not just outside, in their homes. So how do you go about, because I'm trying to look at households where we have single fathers. So how do you go about preparing a young girl who's getting into that stage where they're almost starting their menses?
Their menses.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we initiated in our organization, this thing like when I visit a school, I'll tell the teachers, I want to only talk to the girls who started their menses. I only want to talk to the girls from a certain age to a certain age. But for our organization, we killed that. When you go to schools to talk to these kids, we include the boys.
Yeah.
We talk to the boys together with the girls. Same class, same program. We take them through menstruation. We even chat with the boys. Amuliza, sistako ameanza kunyesha. Niambie, akianza kunyesha ilikuwaje? Ulitoroka ama ulimchekelea ama what happened? Yeah, you create an environment where they can be free to share. These boys can be free to share what these girls are going through. We make them comfortable to know that it's not a disease, it's a normal thing. And we also always tell them, hey, asiyenyesha kuna kasoro. Unafuata? That's how we motivate them. And then we gather communities. Now we've gone to the communities. We gather women and their husbands, men in the community. We talk to them on how they should approach their little girls when they start their menses. We talk to them on how they should make them comfortable at home. Isikuwe ni kama ni amefanya dhambi kwa nyumba. We go to at times and we will start a program in churches too. Because I know in church we'll reach out to many people, both women and men.
What's the craziest story you've had on menstruation? Now that you interact with so many girls,
okay, it's a sad one. Let me say, the story we've come across, a young girl, a 13-year-old girl. Okay, this is not funny. It's just a sad story. This girl, when she started her menses, unfortunately, she had lost both her parents. She didn't have anyone to talk to. She feared the aunts, the neighbors. It was it was so sad because she couldn't approach anyone. So for the first time, she used pieces of clothes. And when it became worse, she's the firstborn in the family, and her sisters too started their menses, wamefuatana in age-wise. So akaona, hi, this is a mess. I can't access any disposable pad. My sisters can't access. So she opted to go get married. And when she got married, she approached some guy, akaamua atamuoa. And this girl told us, she decided so and talked to this guy, Mimi utanioa, but promise me you'll be providing for my family, especially monthly, for pads. The guy was okay. She got pregnant. When she got pregnant, akapata firstborn vizuri. Then this guy decided to disappear. So it became stressful in their home, and she couldn't access, as in, situation became worse. Sanitary towels,
another,
burden
mouth to feed. And
no
this is
food.
all simply because of lack of access to sanitary towels. I want us to scream as much about it.
The girls waliacha kwenda shule. So the big girl, the girl I'm talking about, decided to tell the sisters, this is what you'll be doing. You'll be going to farms, munafanya kazi, you get at least 100 bob to sustain us. You see this story I'm saying, imeanzia wapi? It's because of menstruation. So school done. Now it's you to look for food and for your sanitary towels. Because Mimi, I can't provide. I already have a kid. It became hard. Decided to get married again. Same thing happened. Sasa, she's just at the moment, she's just a 15-year-old girl taking care of 6 kids, siblings. No access of food, no access of sanitary towels. That's why such organization like ours come in now.
And who would you love to maybe call upon to join you in this beautiful initiative that you have?
I'll call upon the women representatives in each and every county. Yeah, the women up there in the society, they should look upon this stories that we hear. It's not this one story. There are a lot of stories. The myths are still on. We are trying to dispel the myths, but they are still on. The taboos are still on. Nothing is being done. Tutaongea leo, we campaign. After some months or years, we go back to where we came from. So let us campaign a lot out there about menstruation.
I hope they'll get to listen to this and come on board. And now, when we're talking about menstruation, there's something we normally forget because we've normalized it, and that is the pain that comes during or with menstruation. You know, we normally, there's an article that was on the, I'm not quite sure, but I think it was the Daily Nation yesterday on period pain, and they were just emphasizing on how we should not normalize it like we have, because sometimes it could be a problem, you know, it could be just a sign to a problem. You know, there's endometriosis, and sometimes it just starts as period pain, just period pain. So if we may just maybe talk about period pain and just how bad is bad for you to decide, I need to go get checked.
Okay, when we talk about period pains and managing period pains, kuna severe cramps na kuna kawaida cramps. When we talk about severe cramps, most of the people who have severe cramps, they puke, they diarrhea, they sweat, they can't eat, and then the pain, walking becomes a problem. In those 3 days when you're having your periods. That's where, when you have these severe pains, it's good to see a gyna, get checked, at least an ultrasound will be done, and you know what's the problem. And from there, the health practitioner will take you through on what to do. The minimal pains, you can get over-the-counter painkillers. You can apply some heat on your abdomen, like maybe use a hot water bottle or a warm towel. You can practice the relaxation techniques. Do regular exercise. When we're in schools, we tell them, ukinyesha, si dhambi, si ugonjwa, simama, go kick that ball.
I love that word you're using because it's what people use.
Hey, go kick that ball, run. Be an athlete. It's not limiting you. You have to do what you have to do for you to succeed. Do those exercises regularly. They help in an inner muscle. Alafu, you just maintain a healthy lifestyle. And when it's worse, just consult a health practitioner. Yes.
Yeah. As we wind up on this particular conversation, maybe, do you have something that is burning that you just want to talk about?
Eliminating the stigma. Yeah, we're trying to eliminate the stigma through campaigns, through social media awareness, through programs, reproductive education. Hiyo ndio imetuvuta nyuma sana. We do this, but we end up going back to where we are coming from. We'll campaign today. At least unasema sacrifice your lunch for one girl to stay in school. Sacrifice this for girls to at least get education, because most of them leave school because of menses. Ama anaamua this week because nanyesha, I won't step in that class because they laugh at me. It's a stigma. They laugh at me. So most of them decide, I'll leave school. I'll live my life. I'll go join my mom in farming. And life will go on. So we try to eliminate the stigma. At least every woman is able to embrace her awesomeness and with no limitations.
All right.
Yes.
On the production centers that you are establishing, you mentioned there's one in Mount Elgon. The ones that you're establishing, are you looking to establish elsewhere as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you maybe pointed out spaces where you're going to be doing that?
Yes, we'll do. We're trying to come up with one in now, at least one in Kakamega County, because the one in Mount Elgon, that is Bungoma County. One in Kakamega County. We want to come up with one in Kisii County and Kirinyaga County. Yes.
So they are taught from scratch how to...
Yeah, from scratch.
That is pad making.
Yeah, pad making. Yeah, reusable pad making.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us for this particular discussion. And you're truly our woman at the forefront, as this is the segment that we are having, Women at the Forefront. You're doing an amazing job. You're doing a great job, whereby you're just trying to ensure that every girl is living, is dignified. You know, every girl out there is dignified. Continue with the great work that you are doing. That was Jemima Nyarondia, and she is the founder of Born to Be Awesome Initiative. And just as we've talked about, we've touched on this particular conversation, I believe that the one thing that is coming out is that all women and girls have a right, and we all deserve to menstruate with confidence and dignity, as it is a natural course. It is something that comes naturally. So we all deserve to experience this God-given experience with confidence and dignity. That is all we had for you right here on Good Morning Kenya on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do this again tomorrow, same time and place. On behalf of the entire team, we wish you a lovely day. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power